2025 was probably one of the best years in gaming, but it could also look like one of the worst years in gaming, depending on how you look at it. You may have seen a lot of videos about like the worst games of 2025 and the biggest disappointments, and I thought it would be fun to sort of go through the games, the platforms, the things, the announcements that were pretty disappointing or pretty bad. Now, I will end this sort of show open on a positive note. There are a bunch of games from 2025 that I want to return to, but there were certainly plenty that were awful or that I simply had to walk away from. I also want to walk through how each of the platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, disappointed fans this year in their own unique way. Nobody seems to get away from this year without making some pretty significant missteps or mistakes. Now, if you like this kind of content, it's a live show. It is highly interactive. It's Monday through Friday, and it is safe for work. Make sure and hit subscribe. Make sure your bell button is set to all. Some people's are getting switched to personalized, and you might not get notified. So I'm going to start with the platform that probably disappointed its fans the most this year, and that is certainly Xbox. It's difficult to go to Twitter or YouTube or really anywhere and not see basically a bunch of people complaining about what Xbox is doing. According to reports, they only sold 1.8 million Xboxes this year, which is a significantly low number in the grand scheme of things, but it's not surprising to anybody who has noticed their seemingly efforts, and strong efforts actually, to really minimize the need for hardware as well as their focus on it. They seem to be competing for the most layoffs, and that is, according to insiders, going to continue in the new year. Not only that, they canceled multiple games that people were looking forward to. Everwild, Perfect Dark, a Zenamax MMO that apparently was being played internally and was liked very much, and then there was Contraband. They also closed studios. They increased the price of Game Pass again. They increased the price of the consoles again. They delayed Fable and showed us gameplay, which made it obvious that up to this point they hadn't really been showing us gameplay. So for many people, Xbox was a big disappointment in 2026, especially for those who have been with the platform for a very long time. The Act Man has a video where he's sort of bemoaning the fact that he doesn't even want to wear a PlayStation t-shirt, and he is, but PlayStation certainly had their own version of disappointment this year. There was a pretty significant lack of first-party presence this year, both in the way of launches as well as announcements. While I did enjoy Ghost of Yotei and Death Stranding 2 a lot, they were two of my favorite games this year. One of those games and studios isn't even owned by PlayStation, Kojima, and Yotei was basically the only game from them this year in that regard. There also just wasn't a whole lot of announcements at their events. At the Game Awards, they tend to be pretty quiet. Now, I am looking forward to Soros and Wolverine this year, as well as many people hoping that Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls is very good. But there was also some other issues this year that cropped up that hopefully get better with time. There was clear quality assurance issues with PSSR on the PS5 Pro. It was largely overstated by people because most of the games were fine. It was a handful of games, but it still happened, and it still reflects poorly on the hardware. They should seem to, I think, want to have some level of quality assurance for third-party games coming to their platform and leveraging PSSR in a bad way. This happened with the PSVR 2, another disappointing showing this year from PlayStation. I basically stopped using my PSVR 2 because there were third-party games getting ported that just had terrible quality assurance. They also ended PlayStation Stars, which upset many longtime fans, and they seem to be playing from the lead as Xbox sort of leaves the hardware battle. PlayStation doesn't seem to be pressed to push out anything or announcements to strongly compete. They also had a very disappointing kickoff to their China Hero project. Now, it wasn't the first game to come out, but it is a game I'll talk about in a moment. We're also hearing bad things about Fair Games, another live service game that seemingly, for whatever reason, is still coming to the market. So PlayStation didn't have a perfect year either. And when it comes to platforms not having a perfect year, it's hard to leave Nintendo out of the frame. They charged $80 for Mario Kart. They're doing this weird key card thing with their games. The way you lend games within your own household is a little ridiculous. They also had a patent against Palworld that thankfully was challenged and seemingly they lost. They charged $10 for their own welcome tour for the Switch 2. The Metroid music classic situation, Metroid Prime 4 getting middling reception, and Pokemon ZA being a bit of a disaster and getting poor reception due to bugs and problems as well. Nintendo seems to want to be able to do whatever they want, but it could come back to bite them as console sales slowed down in November. For many people, thinking it's like the lowest that it's been since 1995 is a huge cause for concern. Some of that is related to economic slowdown. It's also related to Xbox not pushing their hardware at all. And in the past, they really did. They were a pretty major player with the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. But Nintendo needs to keep an eye on this. They may have flown too close to the sun with $80 games, overreaching and litigious behavior with patents and the way they handle game ownership, as well as just low quality releases. We don't have a really strong first party lineup from them this year just yet, other than a Mario Tennis game, I believe, that's been announced, and maybe some others, but it has been a little quiet. We'll see exactly what they decide to do. So the three platforms had their own missteps this year: Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. But that was not the only thing that didn't go that well. And one of the things that didn't go that well this year is efforts in live service. Splitgate 2 had a complete and utter debacle at its launch. You could blame the downfall of this game on a silly hat and a cringy announcement, but overall, I have maintained that these style of arena live service games just don't have staying power. You play them for an afternoon and you've pretty much seen everything that they have to offer. Splitgate 2 tried to kind of go back to the drawing board and bring things back with a battle royale mode and sort of a lift on the branding, but it hasn't seemed to help at all. So Splitgate 2 didn't really become anything other than a bit of a meme at this point, which is unfortunate. People really liked the first one, but I have always maintained that these games will struggle with player numbers. Speaking of struggling with player numbers, for some reason, FBC Firebreak was a game I actually thought it looked kind of promising as a co-op romp. We know that live service is sort of opening up the landscape for more PvE, more co-op style games, and I thought, this thing might have potential. And then I played the demo, and it was a steaming pile of garbage, and seemingly did not capture an audience at all, and it is in terrible state right now. I don't even know if they're going to continue supporting it, but this was another, basically, live service failure this year. I mean, another one that tried to come to the market with sort of an ongoing, format that just did not get good reception. The good news is Control 2 Resonant is coming this year in that in that vein and in that franchise. So we're hopeful that that's going to be a very, very good game. Now, this game didn't come out in 2025, which was one of the disappointments for live service. Marathon got delayed. Its reception was basically terrible. They debuted in alpha for their showcase. They stole artwork. They have since, I guess, fired or demoted the art director. And this game does look better, but I still maintain that this game has a long way to go, an uphill climb that I don't think they'll be able to make. So we will see if it ends up coming out in a good state and actually able to maintain a player base in 2026. But this was one of the live service disappointments of 2025, from the announcement itself to the alpha to the testing to the public streams to the stolen artwork to the delay. Bungie pretty much fell down pretty hard, flat on their face. The question is, can they dust themselves off and actually end up with a game that anybody cares about? Now, this was one that I actually thought had potential, but it seemingly went nowhere, and kind of doesn't surprise me given the current state of live service games. But Fragpunk was another live service game that sort of came and went in 2025. It doesn't really have a player base to speak of right now. I don't think anybody even really remembers this game. I actually thought, in the grand scheme of things, when this one came out with an announcement and Concord had its announcement, I thought, well, I think Fragpunk actually looks like it might have more potential and could be more fun. But like many other live service games that want to do the let's put everybody in an arena with a fun gimmick, it just doesn't have staying power, and I don't think Fragpunk will probably have much to do in the future given its current player base numbers, but I'm happy to be proven wrong on that. And it wouldn't be a disappointing live service year or live service game discussion if we didn't talk about the absolute flub of an announcement of Highguard during the Game Awards. Seemingly dumb to save it for one last thing is the universal agreement right now. Many people want to blame the poor reception to this game on the fact that it was the one last thing. I actually think it's partially because it looks like everything else. There are animations, there are game mechanics that we have seen 10 times over, whether it is in Overwatch or anything else in this vein, and I think Highguard sort of takes the cake for probably one of the worst announcements since maybe Concord, when we finally got a look at Concord. It actually has something in common with Concord. They made it in secrecy, nobody got to see it, and then when people finally got to see it, they said no thank you. So Highguard sort of puts the crown jewel on live service failures of 2025, which many people are like, well, how can it fail? It's not even out yet. Well, give it time. I don't see this game going anywhere in light of a bunch of the games I just talked about not going anywhere, and they all tend to struggle, and one of the reasons they tend to struggle is because nobody wants them. So those are the platform failures or disappointments. Those are the live service failures or disappointments. What about the games that actually came out that just flat out bombed? Well, it's hard not to think of this game first when it comes to 2025 and horrible games. MindsEye, a complete disaster from pretty much top to bottom. I was one of the first people when the initial trailer hit to draw skepticism about the way it was portrayed and the way it was discussed. They had an announcement trailer followed by a gameplay trailer, and the gameplay trailer largely didn't really show any uncut gameplay, and much of what was in the gameplay trailer was just from the announcement trailer we had just seen, and I told people that something looked off and something wasn't right. Well, seemingly nothing was right about this game. A complete and utter disaster with respect to optimization and not running and having bugs and having glitches. Also, seemingly terrible direction for the actual game itself with respect to mechanics and gameplay. A story that potentially could have been interesting and gone somewhere, but given it was surrounded by absolute mediocrity and negative, basically, narrative about the game's quality and how it portrayed itself in the lead up, it's been a pretty much, I think, the worst game we've seen in a long time. Beyond that, the way it was handled and talked about in the sort of waning hours after it came out, I think they were trying to kind of capitalize on the metaverse live service, we're going to pay you to make game content for us idea that Fortnite's making a killing on. Seemingly, everybody else wants to cash in on that. And another game that came out that kind of wanted to cash in on something, which was, well, we'll do the least amount possible, throw everything at the wall, and hopefully people like it, Black Ops 7. Another game that in many people's mind bombed in 2025. Now, it probably made a ridiculous amount of money. It's still up there in the sales charts. The question is, did it make enough to satisfy their budget and to satisfy what they were hoping to get out of it? They also seemingly are pretty rattled in how they talk about the franchise after this launch and how they're going to change going forward with their releases and their cadence and everything else. And we've been here before. We went from them saying we will no longer be doing annual releases to, well, just kidding, we're going to do annual releases. We're going to sell you a game, Modern Warfare 3, that was basically DLC in disguise. And then they have a decent kickoff to going back to Black Ops with 6, but then 7 falls pretty far from grace. So in many people's mind, this is one of the worst Call of Duty launches in history. And the question is, can they get back on course as Battlefield 6 actually took the crown of most sold game this year, unless Call of Duty was able to turn that around in December. Now, another game that bombed this year that I actually wasn't even really aware of, but apparently Civilization 7, has really, really upset fans, and it has terrible scores pretty much everywhere. Another game that's been around for a long time that apparently has really fallen off of its course here, and many people very upset seeing this as one of the bigger flops of the year, and a game that really disappointed. Games like this have been around for a very long time. They don't really appeal to me, but it is always disappointing when you hear that a long-standing franchise can just completely fall down, and Civ 7 is one of those games. From everything I've read, this is basically one of the worst, if not the worst, Civ launch ever, and many people are upset and hoping that the future can be a little bit brighter for this game. Now, another future that everybody is hoping is a little bit brighter is basically anything from Bethesda. And the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, many people felt it was completely overpriced. It broke mods. It lacked substance. It had a ton of technical issues and bugs and glitches. And the fans felt very, very disrespected. If you want to see really good breakdowns of the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition setup and what happened and why people are so angry, I would check out Mr. Matty Plays. He did not hold back, and I really appreciated his take on this, as he is one of the bigger Bethesda fans on the platform. He was actually referenced by one of the actors in the Fallout TV show who wanted to know all about the universe and all about his character. Well, he watched Matty and a handful of other, YouTubers out there. So check out Matty's breakdown. But this one is one of the big flops and disappointments of the year for many people, which is understandable. It's been around for a long time. We know Bethesda kind of likes to go back to the well of their greatest hits. They did it with Skyrim many, many times, and this time, seemingly, they didn't even really make a whole lot of effort. Another game that I was pretty disappointed by this year, and it did not do very well, is Echoes of the End. This is a game that looked promising. It looked like it was going to be sort of a Girl of War, I guess, kind of a game. Not to be cheeky, but it kind of looked like that. It was influenced by a handful of other games. But then when you actually played it, it was pretty horrendous. The combat was terrible. The dialogue was awful. Gameplay just felt very, very lackluster, and it lacked polish. Apparently, they have really dug in and done a lot of good work to make the game run better and feel better, but first impressions are everything. I basically had no desire to go back to this game after its pretty abysmal launch. So this, to me, was another pretty bad game launch of 2025. Guys, keep in mind, I do have a positive end to this open, and I said at the show open that this year could look amazing or terrible, depending on how you look at it. And right now, if you've been listening for the past, how long have I been live here? If you've been listening for the past 15 minutes, you're like, golly, what a terrible year. It certainly seems that way if you look from a certain perspective. While you guys are listening, though, take a quick second and hit that like button. I'm almost done. Another game that in many people's mind bombed this year, and it bombed at a technical level, and that was Monster Hunter Wilds. It has a horrible Steam score. It was absolutely hideous and ugly on console. It was riddled with performance issues. This game seemingly doesn't really deserve much praise at all, and it made a ton of money, and it sold a ton of copies, which I think just adds to the frustration for people when a game like Monster Hunter Wilds, that's been out for so long, seemingly can't have a good launch. That just doesn't seem to be possible. But with Black Ops and Civ 7, that seemed to be one of the themes this year, is long-standing games bringing out a game that just is not really at quality or at an excellent level of optimization, or just basic mechanics running well and things looking good. So Monster Hunter Wilds is certainly one of the games this year that many people felt like was in its own way a flop. Not commercial, and not that the game itself was bad. It was that it was just so poorly optimized. It ran pretty poorly for basically everybody. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of other games that you could put on this list that you thought were bad or were flops, but I thought it would be fun to do a category of games that didn't last with me, games that just really didn't stick it out to the credit roll, and that I basically put down. And this is a list of games that I was enjoying, at least initially, or that I was looking forward to, that ended up not really going the distance with me. And the first game on this list is Assassin's Creed Shadows. I was thoroughly enjoying this game. I think it is one of the best looking games this gen, especially when you turn on global illumination. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I really enjoyed all the things they had done with stealth. I felt like I was sort of back in a classic Assassin's Creed environment when I was forced to sneak through areas and really take my time. But ultimately, once I got to about the 40-hour mark, I felt the game had overstayed its welcome. That overstuffed open world was once again rearing its head, and a character that was controversial for all the wrong reasons became one of the worst parts in the game. I consistently felt that Yasuke felt like a good fit for the game, from the aesthetic to the idea to the creative story. I love the way they introduced him with the story in the beginning, and how he was sort of a slave, and then he becomes this mighty warrior. I thought that was an excellent story. I think it would make for an excellent TV series, but he became one of the worst parts in the game for me. It's an Assassin's Creed game where he's not an assassin. He is a big, giant, lumbering linebacker with a sword, and I loved playing as him. His combat felt amazing. It just convinced me that there should have been a game called Yasuke, and you would play as him, sort of like Ubisoft Ubisoft's own version of like a Ghost of Tsushima or something. But he couldn't climb buildings, he couldn't sneak, you would get into areas where there were all sorts of Assassin's Creed-y things for you to do, and if you were playing as him, you couldn't do them. So I ended up not ever really wanting to play as him. And the story just got long in the tooth. There were far too many side quests, far too many side stories. To their credit, they put a ton of work into all those side stories, and yet those were one of the reasons that I felt like I had to put the game down. Another game that I was severely looking forward to this year was Hollow Knight Silksong, and this is a great game. This is, in fact, probably one of the best Metroidvanias out there that you could play. It's also a bit of a Souls-like now, probably more than the original game. I love the first Hollow Knight, and this game decided to take punishment levels to the absurd high degree. This is probably one of the more debated games this year. Long-standing fans of the franchise felt that punishment started to really overreach, with a complete absence of benches and traps and tricks to mess with you even when you find a bench. Retread areas that are almost hard to believe are real when you see the footage of them. I didn't actually find the game to be too difficult. I was beating bosses that got nerfed later. I was beating sections that really stalled people out on launch day, but I just could not take the runbacks. I felt like they were a complete and utter buzzkill. I actually put the game down after beating one of the bosses that got nerfed. I beat him, and I thought it was a great fight. I loved the arena fights. I loved the boss fights, the art style, the movement. There's so much about this game to love, but I felt like they just sort of ignored a lot of the modern Souls or modern Metroidvania amenities that we see. Even FromSoft had to admit that just let people retry the boss. Just let people go back in with Stake of Marika and other mechanics like that to get some of the punishment out of the way so that we can enjoy the difficulty. I firmly believe that is one of the glaring flaws in Silksong, and you can like it, that's fine. You can praise it. It certainly was worthy of all the accolades it received, but I feel like the punishment got in the way of the difficulty, and instead of being able to enjoy that difficulty, I had to put that one down, which was a bummer because it was one of my highly anticipated games this year. Another game that I gave a shot this year that I thought might win me over was Avowed, and this one quickly fell out of play with me because I just could not get over the clunkiness and the lack of polish. There were performance issues, there were clearly issues with optimization, and that first-person perspective combat just did not win me over. This is another debated game. There are people that think that's excellent, but this was actually on Mr. Matty Play's list of disappointing or worst games of the year. This one really fell short for him, and even for someone like me who thought, well, maybe they can win me over, I just could not be, won over by it. So this is one that fell off my playlist very, very quickly. Now, this is another one that fell off my playlist pretty quickly, and this one was one that I was looking forward to. This was supposed to kick off the China Hero Project, and it really didn't kick it off. Now, there have been other China Hero Project games, but Lost Soul Aside was seen as sort of the big one, the one that was going to start things and really secure sort of a good trajectory and velocity for their efforts in China, and this game was severely influenced by games like Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy, which is notable, but it was just bad. The story and the flow and the pacing was pretty awful. The line delivery and writing was terrible, and the combat really, really lacked polish, and it was really, really difficult to get into. Now, some people think that it has come a long way. They've done updates. There were people that liked it from day one, but this one fell right out of the playlist for me. I did not go any further in the game. It was extremely disappointing and not a game that I felt was at quality. Not a game that really represents what you come to expect from PlayStation efforts. A lot of their first party and publishing efforts, even publishing efforts with things like Stellar Blade or Death Stranding 2. I've come to expect very high quality games from anything they sort of set their sights and their publishing dollars on, and Lost Soul Aside was simply not that. Now, another one that fell off of my playlist, which it surprised me. If you go and watch the gameplay on my channel of Outer Worlds 2, I was having a great time. I remember really enjoying the first game, goofing around and being sort of silly, but as soon as I got out of the tutorial and into the actual main hub of the game, I get to this first town, the performance issues were noticeable. It just did not run very well. This is a severe challenge when you play very well optimized games like Death Stranding 2 or Ghosts of Yotei or even Assassin's Creed Shadows. You go from games like that to a game like this where where the frame rate's inconsistent and it looks almost blurry, muddy, and stuttery just when you rotate the camera, and it really turned me off. It was unfortunate because, again, day one, that opening area was a lot more contained and it ran well, and I had a good time. This game certainly has a lot of moxie and a lot of character and a lot of punch. I think people have really enjoyed this one, but it fell off my playlist pretty quickly. In a year that was so full of so many games, this was one that just wasn't at that quality that I wanted, and so I put it down rather quickly. And we have another one here that I was really looking forward to, especially after the secret level episode, and this one was called Shadow Labyrinth. This was the Pac-Man Metroidvania game from Bandai Namco, and this thing was pretty much a disaster at launch. Terrible score everywhere. People were very critical of significant aspects of the game. Combat was frustrating, didn't feel good. Movement didn't feel good. The way that they had you fast travel or navigating the world didn't feel good, which is unfortunate because you're probably looking at it right now and thinking, that's great art direction. Those enemies and bosses just look fantastic, and yet it is pretty much a terrible game. Now, they came back with a huge update that supposedly really changed things. I finally then went into the game at that point. It had been reviewed so poorly that I kind of wanted to skip it, even though I'd already purchased it, but I went back in after they did their big update, and it just doesn't feel good. If you played games this year, like Ender Magnolia, or in past years like Prince of Persia, I mean, even Silksong, my quibbles with its punishment, it felt fantastic to be in Silksong and to move around. It's hard to go from games like that to a game like Shadow Labyrinth that just doesn't feel good. So that one is another one that fell off my playlist. And this is one that fell off my playlist that I thought I was going to enjoy and roll credits on again, and Gears of War Reloaded just quickly fell to the wayside. No pun intended there with Dom dying. Didn't mean to do that. Listen, the issue that I had with this game, that wasn't Dom dying, I'm sorry. Was that Dom dying? Is that the Dom scene? Hang on. Is that the famous scene? I'm sorry. I'm forgetting. No, that's not Dom. Anyways, I'm getting my games confused. It's early in the morning. Anyways, the issue with this game, to me, was that it just didn't really feel like they did anything beyond make it look really pretty. And it did look pretty. And a lot of people were very critical. I was very excited for this game, and I made a video about it, and people were very critical. And they were like, why are you so excited for this? They already did this in the past. And as longstanding Gears fans were sort of taking to my comment section, I realized, oh, wow, I completely missed the fact that they did this in the past, because I played the original Gears on 360, and I absolutely loved it. I played it on a projection television in my first apartment with my wife, and I thought it was one of the best games I had ever played. So I was very much looking forward to coming back to this one, but it just fell flat for me. And I don't really have a criticism. I don't really have a complaint. It just didn't really last. And I was actually going to play through it with my wife, but I just think the gameplay really didn't transcend or feel that great, and I put it down rather quickly. And it's not that big of a deal. I thought that they gave something to fans, or gave something to PlayStation fans that maybe wanted to try out Gears for the first time. I am really looking forward to Gears of War E-Day and hoping they can deliver a really great new game, but we'll obviously have to wait and see. I trust the Coalition to do really good work in Unreal and really good work with Gears, but Gears of War Reloaded just sort of felt like it just fell flat rather quickly with me. And another game that I was really looking forward to, and many people absolutely love this game, so I'm not going to sit here and rip this game to shreds, but Hell Is Us quickly fell off the table with me, and it was because the combat just did not feel good. Now, this is a highly debated topic. I've had people agree with me and say, yes, it feels terrible, it just doesn't feel good, they need to work on it, they need to polish it. Other people have said, you just have to do X, Y, and Z, and it'll make it feel better, or you have to play in this way, or you have to do this or that. The enemy telegraphs and things, it just didn't feel good. I'm coming from games like, Yote and AC Shadows and Tsushima and Sekiro, and games that have very tight gameplay and tight combat, and the combat in this just never felt good for me. And I was very bummed, because I believe they deserve a lot of praise. Their art direction was cool. They were ambitious with their game design. The way that they don't really tell you where to go or what to do. You have to kind of solve it all on your own. That's one of the reasons I think people really like this one. And sadly, it just fell off the table for me. And another one that fell off the table for me was one that I got review access to, but the rough edges of the game, the overly punishing nature of the game, and just the lack of optimization made me put down Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, and I have a review on the platform right now if you want to go check that one out. It's basically a like 40-something hours or 30-something hours first impressions or whatever, and I was really starting to enjoy the game, but then it really started to fall apart on me. The performance issues got worse. There were issues with some of the movement and some of the attacks that they had to address, which I didn't get to enjoy that because I had to play through a lot of these challenging fights with irritating runbacks that included elevators for some reason. I don't know why you would do that running back to a boss, but they did. And also just some oddities with the fully charged attacks and how you're supposed to hit people in the back and it's supposed to put them down for like an obliterate attack, and it didn't really work. Now, I know there's some videos out there from guys like Fighting Cowboy because he's like God tier player and he had some crazy awesome builds that he really liked in this game. So there certainly is plenty to enjoy, and they addressed some of the overly punishing nature of the environments, which was something that came up in my first impressions video. They actually addressed pretty much everything I brought up in my first impressions video. They addressed and tried to fix, but the last couple times I've gone back to the game, it still just does not perform all that well. It has sort of an ugly performance mode, which is why Wu Chang Fallen Feathers essentially just got put down by me, and I didn't go back. Now, I did complete 24-something games this year and had one of my favorite years in gaming in a long, long time. Like, for me, rolling credits on 24, 25-something games, that's kind of a big achievement. I'm very busy. I'm a dad. I stream a lot, and the stream is more talk show than gameplay because that's just what we do here, right? So I don't have a ton of time to roll credits. So I completed a lot of games this year. It might sound like, man, did you just put games down the whole time? No, I actually rolled credits on a ton of games. So many games, in fact, I now want to go through quickly a list of games that I would like to go back to, okay? And these are games that I thought, okay, I need to go back to this one. And the first is Mafia: The Old Country. Now, I will stand by some of my criticism for the pacing in the beginning. It's not a particularly long game, and I spent over 2 hours doing not very much of anything, just sort of setting up some of the mechanics and some of the tutorial aspects of it. But this game just has something about it. There's a vibe, there's a feel, there's a tone that I just really, really think is special. And many people have said, you need to go back and roll credits. It's not that long. It's a really, really enjoyable experience, and it doesn't take tons of time. And so this is definitely one that I would like to return to. So Mafia: The Old Country is a game that is sort of been slid to the backlog, as it were. And maybe potentially gets pulled out at some point this year. Going to be tough to do that, though, because 2026 is very, very full, and I'm currently looking at games like Control and High on Life. But another game that I want to kind of pull back out and finish or play is The Altars. This one really surprised me. I thought the concept was so creative from the very, very first trailer, but the gameplay loop actually really was enjoyable. I really thought it was excellent, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to come back to this one. This is definitely a game that when I go back to it, I'm going to have to start over fresh from the very beginning because I'll probably forget things. I'll probably not know, like, wait, what was I doing? Who was I messing with? And what was I working on? But this is definitely one that I think was kind of like a sleeper hit this year that not enough people paid attention to, and I definitely have The Altars on my games I need to go back to list from 2025. There were just so many games that came out this year, and The Altars was certainly one of the more creative and one of the more ambitious ones that I want to check out. And another one that I felt like was very ambitious and very good looking, I actually thought this thing was going to get a ton of accolades just for its direction and its work in facial capture and emotion capture, and it's Eric's Home: The Stolen Dream. This is sort of the top-down stealthy game. And this is one that I would like to go back to and finish. Many people have said that it's actually a very, very enjoyable game, and I kind of told people to keep an eye on this one. The cinematic alone, like the cinematic quality alone, is remarkable. I would love to see this team do another game like this because it really, really is captivating. The characters and the story is actually pretty creative. So this is another one that's on the list of games that I would like to go back to in 2026. I'm trying to end on a positive note. I know there was a lot of duds and a lot of disappointments this year, but there were also a lot of really, really good things in 2025. And one of the good things is a good reason to go back to Days Gone. This is a huge game that many people believe has aged better with time. It didn't do all that well when it first came out because of bugs and glitches, and they got told no when they pitched it to their own executives at Bend to do a sequel. And so for now, it seems like we might not get a Days Gone 2, but I never actually got to finish Days Gone. I was really enjoying the PC port, but now my gaming situation, it's a lot harder for me to game in the office, so I want to go game in the living room. Well, a great way to do that is with a remastered version of what some consider to be one of the better PlayStation exclusives that were out there when it came out. And again, I feel like this one aged better with time. They fixed a lot of those issues, and then it landed on PS Plus. So a ton of people played it that had skipped it, and they were like, why does this have such a bad score? This is a great game. Yeah, well, you didn't play it at launch. And so this is another game that I really feel like I need to get back to and put some time into. Sadly, it takes a lot of time. And speaking of taking a lot of time, another game that I would really like to go back to that did impressive things in 2025 is No Man's Sky. They just don't quit over there at Hello Games, and I have maintained that they didn't just make good on their promises for No Man's Sky. I believe they essentially built No Man's Sky's sequel inside of the game. Basically, No Man's Sky 2 exists. They just built it and shoved it into the existing game. Everything they've done with the worlds, the lushness, the graphical fidelity, the water, the ships, the traveling, the ability to meet up with other players. There is so much in No Man's Sky. Like, this is probably one of the biggest and best games that I just don't have time for. But it certainly is on a list of games that I would like to return to. I would like to go back and maybe run an expedition or just start a fresh save and just play it for a couple of weeks and just enjoy everything that they have done with this. Seemingly at this point now, it has become a masterpiece in its own right. And it's a good runway for Light No Fire, which apparently we're not going to see anytime soon. But a lot of the things that we've seen in the Light No Fire trailer have made their way to No Man's Sky, which for the price and for the package, it's hard to ignore. So I've got a couple more games really quickly here that I would like to return to. And this was one that had my attention very early on, and it was called Blades of Fire. And I made like a Blades of Steel joke on Twitter that I still think was a great joke. But in any case, Blades of Fire, I really, really like the open, and I really, really liked the combat, but it quickly, sort of had issues and frustrations and some sort of nagging things in the content flow. It did not get a great score, but they have since made some changes and some updates and some patches, and I would like to go back and start fresh with this one someday, because I really did find the combat and the style to be enjoyable. And they had some unique takes on things that you would do with weapons and things that I thought was, pretty cool. And it had a really, really neat vibe. It had some things within the controls and the camera that I think could use some work. But Blades of Fire is certainly a game from 2025 that I would like to return to, because there was just something about it that hooked me and that I liked. And I'd like to go back maybe one day and roll credits on that one. And a game that probably wouldn't take me too long to do that with, and I actually spent a pretty good amount of time with it, is a game called Metal Eden. If you are looking for just a really, really fun, sort of arcade-ish Doom-esque shooter, Metal Eden's got some really, really good stuff in it. Now, it's got some sections that are a little weird, where you're not necessarily, getting in gunfights. There's like these towers and you're like a ball and stuff. But generally speaking, there's a lot in Metal Eden that I think is really enjoyable, and I had a really, really good time with it, and I've wanted to go back to this one. It's gotten better. The demo had some issues. The demo had some problems with screen tearing and stuff, and they did some good work, and they launched it, and it really, really did I think feel very, very good. So I wanted to go back to Metal Eden. I think I was close to the end. I think I was like 70% of the way through the game or something like that. And it's got like a really, really fun vibe and feel. It's not a rogue. You might watch this trailer and think it's a rogue because she like keeps coming back. That's actually not true. There is some lore surrounding that, but you're not like dying and coming back like in a rogue. And I know that trailer made everybody think that, but it is not. All right, the last thing on my list of games I need to go back to, and this is one of my longest show opens in a while. I'll get to you guys in the live chat in a minute. It's Battlefield 6's campaign. This is definitely one that I haven't touched yet, but I've heard good things about it, and the fact that this game outsold, Call of Duty. The king of the castle got outsold this year, and this is one that I intend to go back to. I've got to be in the mood for a shooter like this. Lately, I haven't really been in the mood for a shooter. Maybe High on Life will give me a catalyst back into that. That one feels pretty unique, and I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed High on Life when I played it at launch. I just never went back to it, so I'm currently working through games like that. Like, want to do a replay of Control, since we know its sequel's coming. Want to play through High on Life for the first time all the way to credits because its sequel is coming. But I would like to at some point go back to Battlefield 6. So I wanted to end on a positive note because, as I said, you could look at 2025 and you could watch most of this open here and think, man, what a sucky year. Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo were disappointing their fans. Live service games were flopping. Big franchises were flopping or shoving out crap that wasn't ready. It's very, very easy to look through just one piece of a lens at the gaming landscape. But overall, I think 2025 delivered greatness, which is why I encourage people to put a game down if you're not enjoying it. Put a game down or don't buy a game if it's not at quality or if they didn't do a good job with it. There were plenty of other great games this year, and I spent my time playing what felt like a lot of them, and so many of them, in fact, that rolling credits on about 25 games wasn't enough. I've now got games sort of left over from 2025 that I want to go back to. So, what was sort of your biggest disappointment this year, the worst game that you thought came out this year? Let me know in the chat. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We don't like doing like negative, wah, cry, everything sucks videos, so I wanted to kind of balance it out there at the end, which turned this into one of my longest show opens ever. That was a 40-minute show open. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you're watching this later, I typically don't do that. We're usually doing like 5-minute show opens, and then I'm talking with the audience. Are there any rogue FPS games that actually sounds interesting? One of the best rogue FPS games you can play is a game called RoboQuest. I would not recommend co-op on console because it consistently disconnected my wife from me when we would get to kind of the end and it gets really crazy. But RoboQuest is probably the best first-person shooter rogue in the market. So RedSec is harder than typical Call of Duty Warzone. People really felt like RedSec kind of failed. Yeah, Witchfire is kind of a rogue, and it's only available on PC right now in early access. So make sure you guys are hitting the like button, and I do need to add any of your memberships, renewals, or gifteds. We are closing in on unlocking Community Game Night. The Member Plus number went up, so thank you to everybody who is either at Member Plus or VIP. We're now at 450. We need about 50 more people to get to sort of the baseline. That means we would start every week with 500, meaning you automatically unlock Friday night when we start the week at 500, and we only need the thing that we've always done, which is that 500 new, and that unlocks something like Madam or Community Game Night. Sorcerer with 55 months and a VIP. Let's get that one added and start the day right. Thank you so much. And 90 Belly Boy with a VIP also adds to the total and gets us to 807. Thank you guys for adding to the total. Better than typical smoke. RedSec Firewall is epic. Oh, like the way they like funnel you on the map. Did you finish Chronos the New Dawn? No, Chronos the New Dawn just really drove home the fact that like I came to the conclusion that I don't think I like survival horror games. They just don't communicate to my brain. +1. There's Hilly. Haven't seen you in a while, Hilly, and he takes it to 808. Thank you so much for 58 months, Hilberg. That was another big one from Sorcerer. 55 months is a long time. But yeah, I just don't think I like survival horror games. I don't know. I loved Final Fantasy. I love. Wow, we're really having a hard time today, aren't we? So many games in my brain. I really liked Resident Evil 7, and I liked Resident Evil 2, the remake that they came out with. And people are like, "Well, that's survival horror," and I'm like, I don't know. It didn't feel like survival horror to me for some reason. But when I got into Chronos: The New Dawn, when I got into what was the other one that I didn't like? The one in the prison. I forget the name of that one. Oh my gosh. It's the one in the prison. It's beautiful. And people said that they had really improved it, and I went back and I was like, yeah, no, I just don't like this. I don't like survival horror. Like the Silent Hill 2 remake. It just didn't speak to my brain. I don't know what it is. I get bored. Like I don't feel like I'm scared. Sven with 54 months says Happy New Year. Let me add you to the total. Keems with 25 months. We're going to add that one. It's 810. Thank you so much. Callisto Protocol. That's it. Yeah. After my stint with Callisto Protocol, Silent Hill 2 Remake, Chronos: The New Dawn, I was like, you know what? I just don't think I like survival horror. And this is what happens, okay? This is kind of my experience. I'll kind of take you through the experience. It starts out, it's creepy, it's scary, art direction, the sound, the music, it's all so good. I'm like, yeah, dude, this is awesome. I'm scared. I'm on the edge of my seat, right? And then all of a sudden, I start to sense mechanics and things that I need to do in order to survive. And so the game starts to like poke through the surface, and it starts to break my immersion. And before long, all of a sudden, that's all I can see. All I can see are the mechanics. How many times do I need to hit this guy? How many times do I need to dodge? How many bullets do I need to save? Okay, how much do I have here? And I think that's why people like survival horror. They like sort of solving that puzzle. To them, it activates something in their brain, and they're like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get through this area. I'm going to get past this hard section, whatever. What it does to me is the opposite. And some of this is because my first experience with scary games were games like Layers of Fear, where it's purely psychological. The point of Layers of Fear is not to put mechanics and survival before you, it's to scare the crap out of you. I went from Layers of Fear to Resident Evil 7, and I suddenly was like in the mood for scary games. I was like, oh, this was so fun. The stream loved it. Community loved it. We had a great time. So I started going into other games, and I quickly started learning something about myself, that if I suddenly am faced with a mechanical aspect or a gameplay mechanic, I don't like it. Like, these are highly praised games that I didn't like. So there was the Outlast game that people told me was really good. I didn't like it. I was trying to get past a guy. I couldn't get past a guy. And I was like, I'm not scared. Now I feel like I'm interacting with mechanics. So I'm not scared. Well, Layers of Fear 2 did that. There were sections you could fail if you got hit by light or something. And I was like, I'm not scared. I feel like I'm dealing with a mechanic now. Something similar happened with, there was another scary game that I had on the top of my head that I was going to say that, what was it? Shoot, I can't think of it now. I was going to go from Outlast to it, and I can't think of it now. Silent Hill 2 is really slow, but it gets once it gets going, it's good. Callisto is good. People said that Callisto Protocol got a lot better, so I went back to it, and I just did not enjoy it at all. I was like, I don't know. I liked it for the first 20 minutes, and then you start getting grabbed, and you start getting like jump scare pain, like jump scare damage, and I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, the minute I have to enter that part of my brain and I'm thinking through how do I get past this mechanically, I'm no longer scared, and then I'm bored. I'm like, okay, it's just me dealing with, like, if we're honest, okay, like, let's just take the gameplay in Callisto Protocol. It's not that great, okay? It does the job. So it's not like the gameplay itself is this phenomenal thing. If you strip away the scare factor, if you strip away the fear factor, the immersion point of like being afraid, once you strip that away, what you're left with are pretty basic mechanics. Dodge, land a couple hits, dodge, grab something and throw it, grab them and throw it, maintain your ability to stay alive and bullets and stuff like that. You just end up, it's like a QTE without the prompts. Yeah, you kind of strip away the fear, and you're like, yeah, there's not much here to keep me coming back. I remember playing Dead Space 3 with my buddy and loving it because we were coming fresh off of like Borderlands or something like that. And we loved Dead Space 3. If I go back to like Dead Space 1, like the remake and stuff, like I don't have a nostalgic attachment to it. People are like, that's the first Dead Space you played? I was like, yeah, I just was never really aware of Dead Space. I was usually playing Call of Duty. So, it's like you're fighting the game to enjoy it. Yeah, it kind of feels that way. Callisto on New Game Plus with all the guns was good. Yeah, I just learned that about myself. It was like, you know what? I don't like these. Oh, that was the other one I was going to mention. Everybody loves Alien Isolation, and they think it's like one of the best games in that genre ever made. And I was in the mood for a scary game, and I played it, and I told people, I was like, I'm not scared. They're like, what do you mean you're not scared? I'm like, I'm not scared. Like, now that I know there's mechanics that I have to engage with, I'm no longer afraid. I see the alien as an NPC or a boss to get through rather than something threatening and scary. Does that make sense? Like when the guy kept grabbing me in Outlast, or if the alien found me in Isolation, or if when I died in Chronos the New Dawn, I'm like, well, I'm not scared now. Because now I'm interacting with an NPC. I'm interacting with an enemy, boss, thing. that I need to, get past. And that to me just shatters the whole thing. It's like, yeah, I'm not scared anymore. Like, to me, there's two engines on the plane. There's all of the mechanics and the resource management and the sort of you're solving the puzzle. And then there's it being scary. There's two engines on the plane. When that one engine burns out and it's not scary for me anymore, I'm like, yeah, I'm bored now. So do you want more complexity in these horror games? No. I wondered why you guys didn't pour it. That was for her or you.
I thought that was yours. So this was the big one.
Sorry.
It's alright.
I had poured my... Yeah, turn it back on, heat up. Because I had poured mine in my mug. Because remember, I turned mine on last night, and I told you.
I know, I misunderstood.
Okay. Oh, you found the socks? Of course you did.
Do you know where they were?
No.
Right in front of the dryer?
They must have been under the basket, because there was nothing on the floor. Well, I picked the basket up and brought it upstairs. That's why I didn't see it. How do you enjoy a scary movie then? Because they're acting. That's not even equivalent at all. That's a complete false equivalency. The immersion of a movie is, if they're doing a really good job acting, I think they're truly terrified or truly getting their arm cut off, right? If all of a sudden in the middle of the movie, I saw a boom mic or somebody was like, oh, that really hurt, and they started laughing, they're like, and they forgot to cut the scene short, that would break the immersion, and I would no longer be scared. I'd be like, oh, it's just somebody acting. Like, that's what happens in the video game. The mechanics disrupt the immersion for me, and I'm no longer like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. It's, okay, this guy's grabbed me a couple times. I'm going to have to take a left, then a right, and then I'm going to have to shoot him in the leg. Do you see? Like, to me, it breaks the immersion. Like, in a movie or a TV show, the immersion can totally get broken in a scary movie, and it wouldn't be scary. Like, if they start popping jokes, like if the zombie or like Jason or Freddy Krueger grabs the person and he's like, I'm gonna kill you, but before I do, did you know that you can save 15% by switching to Geico? You'd be like, what's happening? Like, it would break the immersion. It would be like, oh, I'm suddenly being disrupted by the commercial enterprise of movie making, as opposed to just being scared for, the guy, that's about to be, murdered or had his head bitten off or something. So yeah, there's just something about survival horror that doesn't vibe with me. Now, the interesting thing is, in these discussions, all I've done is talk about my experience and how I experience and why I don't like it. I've not once been critical. Like, people really misinterpret what you say when you talk like this, right? They really misinterpret how, oh, he's being critical. He says these games are bad. No. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying that they're poorly made. I'm not saying that they're, they don't deserve good scores. I'm saying the way that I experience them, I just can't have a good time. It just doesn't work. I was playing a zombie game. What was it? Was it Back for Blood? I think it was Back for Blood. And it felt like they just made me slow to make it scary. It didn't feel scary. It was like, well, you're just making me run through cement. That's not scary. That's irritating. Like, I'm going to break my joystick. Like, go! Do you know what I mean? Alien Isolation was scary. I wasn't scared at all. I mean, it's subjective to the person. I was not scared at all. I was like, I understand how this works now, so I'm not scared. I'm solving the puzzle. Just for discussion debate, isn't that what you do in every game? Identify patterns and adjust accordingly? Yes, but a scary game needs to maintain being scary in order for me to enjoy it. So let's say in a game like Ghost of Yotei, yes, you identify patterns and you adjust so that you can parry and you can dodge and be successful. And that's part of what's so enjoyable, is that you become really good at the combat. So me becoming good at the combat is sort of an immersion point into Atsu becoming good at the combat and overcoming the challenge, the boss, the villain, and saving the day. I don't need to be scared in that game. Like, my emotional investment is completely different in a game like that. Like, I'm trying to save the day. I'm trying to get better at combat. So recognizing those patterns, I need to do that. When I'm like a jittery, handshaking, flashlight holding like reporter, and I'm like, huh, who's there? I need to believe that that's like what I'm doing, that I'm terrified and my flashlight's running out of batteries. But then it's like, you died. And I'm like, oh, okay. You died. Oh, okay. Well, now I'm repeating it. So now it's not scary. It's like, yeah, I know that rubber ball is going to bounce across the room. I know the Jack in the Box is going to open. I know the little doll's head's going to spin around. And then lightning's going to strike, and then I have to run when that happens. Do you see? It's like, well, now it's not scary. Now I'm like, what is it? It's Groundhog's Day. I'm just waiting for the thing to happen that I know is going to happen so that I can run for the door. So yeah, I think the difference is what's the purpose, what's the game's goal. And when I play a scary game, I feel like, well, part of the goal here is for me to be scared, for me to feel a sense of like adrenaline and like my breath should be, picking up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we almost didn't make it through there. Like when I played through Layers of Fear and like Resident Evil 7, I felt that the whole time. I just felt terrified. I didn't feel that when I tried to play the games like Outlast and Alien Isolation, because there was so much more of a mechanical aspect of like, well, you need to survive and not die. Doom 3 was scary. There were parts of Doom 3 that were scary. I remember when Pinky busted through the glass. That was freaking awful. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it. What's happening here? So yeah, I think that's kind of the conclusion I've come to, is it's like, I'm not being critical. I'm not saying they're bad. Anybody in chat right now, or if you're going to leave a comment and you're like, yeah, well, I don't know why you hate on these games. I'm not hating. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they don't work for me. They don't work for me. Top reply with 33 months on America Plus. Rents due. Couldn't find you on Twitch to do my double. Also, you have 2 new fans of your coffee, my mom and her boyfriend. We'll get them to keep ordering, man. I appreciate that. As we inch toward the goal for the week, we need about another 190, and we can hit it. We might need some member trains today if you guys want to unlock community game night. Resident Evil 7 was fun on VR because I was peeking around corners with my headset before I started walking. Yeah, the Resident Evil demo that I played on VR was a bit much. Yeah. The Fear games were scary back in the day. We need another one. I actually don't think I ever played those back in the day. Don't you feel like having a moment to catch your breath also adds to the suspense? Right, but a moment to catch my breath is like a safe room in Resident Evil 7. A moment to catch my breath is not, I just died 4 times in a row. I don't know the pattern yet. That's not a moment to catch my breath. Do you know what I mean? You're like, well, I ran, I turned right, and then I turned left, and I didn't see the door. I missed it. So now I got to go back and do it again. Well, that doesn't feel like a moment to catch my breath. It feels like, okay, now I know what to do. Like, I don't know. You got to play those. They're awesome. I don't think they'll probably ever make it into the play. I mean, my backlog's ridiculous. One's fully co-op. Oh, really? I don't think Madden would play a game like that. So, why would I want to be scared? Well, there are people that do not like being scared. They won't go to a haunted house. They won't watch scary movies. They don't like it. I like it. Let's do it. I'll make it terrifying. Put me on the edge of my seat. Oh, I love it. I feel that with Uncharted. The thrill of some of the set pieces is amazing, but if you fail more than twice, it kills the excitement. Legend, that is so true with games like Uncharted and Tomb Raider. There were some pretty violent deaths for Lara Croft in that one game. I think it was like the first one when the reboot. Both 1 and 2 when they rebooted. Man, it was kind of disturbing. There was one where she'd get like a spike up through here, and for like a few seconds she'd like try to grab at it, and then she'd like slowly die. It was disturbing. I was like, oh my gosh, like the last few seconds of her life. Like just instinct taking over. You know, she's trying to grab this spike out of her jaw. But I remember thinking the same thing. I remember thinking, if you fail one of these moments, it gets annoying really quickly. It's like, I don't want to run on this teetering airplane one more time, you know, and then I got to make the jump, and then I got to make the grab. I tell you what I don't want to see in a game ever again is where you jump, you make the grab, or you're climbing and you make a tough grab and something breaks and you almost fall. Can we just stop doing that? We don't need to do that anymore. It's been done ad nauseum. I think every game that I've ever played with running, jumping, grabbing, and climbing, there's at least one part where something breaks and you almost fall. It's not scary. It is like, yeah, here we go. You got to do that. There's the token almost fall, like every time. Every time there's the token you almost fell moment. Every single time. It's like, why? Why do we have to do this? Stranger Things and Alan Wake 2 about as far as I can lean into scary. Psychological, Lovecrafty, scary, I'm good. Monster jumping through the window, F that. Yeah, some people don't like jump scares. Yeah, they do not like jump scares. I remember when we were looking into scary games for me to play, that's what I wanted. I wanted jump scares, and people would leave like reviews on like a scary game, and they would say too many jump scares. Like they didn't like them, or they thought they were cheap, and that the game devs leaned on them too much. And I'm like, dude, I love it. You give me a good jump scare, yeah, let's go. I think that's why I don't like when there's repetition and I have to fail a section and do it again. There's no jump scare now. It's like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. I notice that the constant redo in games is another reason why I drop the difficulty on games nowadays, says Noberto. I have limited time. The mechanics get annoying if you have to redo them. Give me story. Yeah, limited time can certainly play a role in like how you approach a game. Yeah. That's probably one of the worst mindsets to play some games. Is you're like, well, I've only got 45 minutes. Let me play this game. It's just you're setting yourself up for probably some irritation, you know, if you do that. Because generally speaking, you don't know how long a section's going to take. You don't know if there's going to be a checkpoint, save point, end point, whatever. You have no idea. So it's like, it's hard to know. Unlocking the MP4 early on can make it so easy in certain sections. That jump scare might just be my last. My heart might not be able to make it. Well, yeah, I mean, there are games where, like, that's kind of the point of the game. And I think there's an art to it. I think there's an art to a good jump scare. You know, you play through, like, the first layers of fear. There's an art to it. They trick you, or they make you anticipate the jump scare, and then they don't do one, and then you turn around. Like, the ability to manipulate the gamer, like, psychologically so that you feel tense, and then you feel safe, and then they take that feeling of safety away. That's, oh yeah. There's an art to that. I really appreciate a really, really good jump scare riddled game where, what was I playing? Was it the one where you couldn't make any sound? We were climbing into a building. I think it was the one based off of that movie, wasn't it? A Quiet Place. I feel like that one was surprisingly pretty good with like being afraid and not wanting to get caught and climbing through windows and stuff. The first time I turned the difficulty down is the Vader fight in Jedi Survivor. Oh yeah, that fight's got a couple of tough spots. Yeah. I didn't turn the difficulty down, but I remember that one. That was probably the first time in Jedi Survivor where there was one fight, I think, where you fight your buddy, and I died like twice. One of the times it like glitched. I talked about this the other day. It was like a one-hit kill, and it wasn't. It glitched out. He like sent a blast across the room, and I don't know what happened. It was kind of a glitchy fight. Somebody put footage in the Discord once of the fight. They had some weird things too. I got lucky and got him like my second time. Apparently, some of you guys got, I forget who it was. One of you guys got stuck on him for a while because it kept glitching or something. But yeah, I remember the Vader fight. That was probably the first time in Jedi Survivor that like I failed multiple times. Like up to that point, I think the only other fight that really gave me trouble was like the two Wampas. They were like the two brown Wampas. That was pretty frustrating. Days Gone, kill 4 hordes, unlock the MP4, make it easier. Need to get the big hordes. Otherwise, even on hard mode, imbalance on Days Gone. Yeah, I mean, your thoughts are kind of scattered there, but I never really felt like... I mean, I think there's a problem if... I think in any game you can do that. In any game you can optimize it to the point where you're like, yeah, this game's no good. But if you go and look up a guide and you play the game in the cheapest way possible, that's your own fault. I mean, you can't really blame the game for that. If the average person playing through the game doesn't know, if you do this, you do this, you do this, if you do this in this particular order, you can get this weapon really early in the game and it completely invalidates all the difficulty. And it's like, okay, but the average person's not going to know that. Like if you watched a guide video, followed it meticulously, and then it invalidates the difficulty of the game, that is not an indictment of the game. That's a self-inflicted wound. Like that's like stepping on your own toe. It's like, well, why would you do that? I played Jedi Survivor on Jedi Grandmaster, and I died like 100 times before I beat him finally. The glitch is when he turns red and he goes to grab you. You have to double jump quick enough. I have the clip. I don't remember that. There was something in the fight that kept getting me, and I can't remember what it was. There was something in the Darth Vader fight where slowly but surely, like, you know what to do for everything, but there was something that he kept getting me. Maybe it was that. I don't know. I remember being like, oh my gosh, I couldn't get away from something. Maybe it was the grab. I tried Jedi again, but I saw it was 165 gigs. That's what? That's how much it takes to install Jedi Survivor? I don't know how you design a game that can be equally challenging for the people that look up every guide and the people that look up none of them. I don't think you can legislate to people that look up guides. I don't think you can. If you legislate to people that look up guides, then we have this conversation all the time in Destiny. It was legislating to people that play an unhealthy amount of time. Unhealthy's not. Unnatural. Like an unnatural amount of time. Like if you play Destiny for 6 hours a day, that's not natural. The average person can't do that. The average person's schedule does not allow for that. That's like a part-time shift at a job, right? Well, they cannot legislate to that. There's just no way. Like you can't. You can't be like, well, we need to make sure we have enough content for that person. Because typically what that's going to do is, and this is what most companies would do, is they just make everything take longer. So I've always said, if you try to slow down the person that plays 6 hours a day, you're going to make the game miserable for the person that can only play for an hour a day. Like if you're like, oh man, this guy playing 6 hours a day, we got to slow him down. You know, so you slow him down. Well, then the guy that can only play an hour a day is going to be miserable. You know, they're not going to feel like they make any progress. I just finished Hogwarts Legacy on level 28, but you can't get the ending unless you're level 34. Wait, what? Why not? What does it prevent you from doing? I don't understand how you finished it, but you can't get the ending. To be that young again to play 6 hours? I struggle with that now. Like if we do like a longer play session in the evening, like if Madam and I would play a game for a couple of hours, man, I'm usually good after we come into like the end of the second hour. You start rolling over into that third hour and I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm good. You know, I'm good. I've got to take a break. I mean, as I used to play, Destiny would drop new content. I would do like a 13-hour stream and just grind. those are always my least favorite times in the game, obviously, because it was like you didn't really feel like you were able to play the game and enjoy it. You had to play the game with the sole purpose of like maximizing leveling. You weren't like, oh, I love Destiny so much, I'm playing for 13 hours straight. It's like, no, the only way I'm going to conceivably be raid ready is if I play this game a stupid amount of hours and pray to the RNG gods. Like, the way they set up the raid grind was always so incredibly stupid. It was like, cater to the people that can stream and play for 12 hours a day. And I'm alive again. What's good, Jazzer? You know, cater to those people and then wonder why everybody's like mad a month later when they don't have anything to do. And it's like, well, you basically incentivize everybody to play the game. Like your most hardcore, your most ardent players were like motivated to play the game like nonstop for 2 weeks. It's like, well, yeah, of course they have nothing left to do. And of course they're burned out. You literally motivated them to play like that. The modern Assassin's Creed games suck. To continue the story, you have to grind for hours. I remember really enjoying AC Origins, and then I felt like AC Odyssey and Valhalla were just too dense. I was like, I'm never going to get anywhere in this game. Were you tempted to put Dispatch on your list of disappointing games? No, because that wouldn't be fair to Dispatch. I wasn't looking forward to it and could not then therefore be disappointed by it. I knew that that was not a game made for me. I don't really play like Telltale games like that, like story games like that, where you know, like I played Tales from the Borderlands. The only reason I played Tales from the Borderlands is because people told me it had like really good Borderlands story in it. If you guys haven't done so already, quickly hit that like button. So yeah, I couldn't be disappointed in Dispatch. I literally did it as a member incentive, knowing that like, yeah, I'm probably not going to like this. I thought I'll give it a go because everybody keeps singing its praises. But like, I just can't get into those games. They don't pull me in. Like the story, the way they tell the story, the characters, the writing, it just felt, I literally felt like it was like I was reading somebody else's mail. It was like, wow, somebody really took the time to write like a really nice letter. It's really heartfelt, and I feel nothing because it's not written to me. Like, do you know what I mean? I felt like I was reading somebody else's mail. I was like, yeah, this doesn't speak to me at all. What I'm hearing you saying is that you rage quit Dispatch. I had no plans on getting it. And I was like, well, we can make that a fun incentive. Like, here, I'll play, because people kept telling me, you got to play Dispatch, Lona, you got to play. I'm like, boys, I have no interest in that game. I don't play those kinds of games. You might as well be sitting here telling me I should play Mortal Kombat. Like, I don't, you know, that's not my kind of game. And, so I tried it, and I mean, I was within 30 minutes, I was like, oh gosh, this is not for me. This is not for me, you know. I could tell they put passion into it, they put heart, and I was like, I get why people like this, but this is somebody else's love letter. This is not mine. Play Mortal Kombat, please. Yeah, no. We tried that once and it was awful. You know, we've tried that a couple of times and we'll never do it ever again. We tried it with Dragon Ball. We tried it with Mortal Kombat. It was like, yeah, we'll pick a game. Everybody wants to come beat up on Lono. And like one person shows up that has the game and everybody else is like, yeah, we're just here to watch you get beat up. I'm like, nobody else has the game? You think Crimson Desert is going to be another forever game? They're not positioning it as a forever game, are they? You don't like millennial humor? I mean, if that's one of the things that kind of turned me off from Dispatch, then yeah, I would say millennial humor doesn't do much for me. That's probably true. Do you like horror games like Until Dawn? That's what's interesting. I do really like games like Until Dawn and The Quarry, and like the Dark Pictures anthology games, but I like them when I play them with Madam. I would never play one of those games by myself. Right? I would never play one of those games by myself. Like, I like playing those games with Madam. It's like, it's uniquely entertaining to get her perspective and to let her control a character, you know, to let her make decisions or what have you, and to debate like what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Oh yeah, that I love playing those games with her, but I would never go out of my way. Like, what did we play the one night that we really enjoyed? Dead Take, the one with like Ben Starr and Alana Pierce and people in it. Yeah, I loved Dead Take, but it was because I was playing with Madam. What's millennial humor? I don't know what millennial humor is. Yeah. If you guys are watching the stream right now and you're watching through the vertical feed, like the shorts feed, I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you're watching. What's it look like? How's the experience? How does the chat look? We've recently started showing up there, and people are able to watch there. And if you find me through there, I'd love to get some feedback from you on it. Also, if you guys are enjoying the stream, take a quick second and hit that like button. It does help. Is it sarcasm? Because we might have already been doing that. I don't think it's sarcasm. I don't know. I didn't even say that they had millennial humor in the game. It just didn't grab me. And it didn't grab me because I didn't have it on a list of games I wanted to play. So I wasn't disappointed. It wasn't like, oh, I was really looking forward to this. Like, I was really looking forward to Silksong, and Silksong really disappointed me. I feel like they made decisions about that game that just completely disrupts the delivery. You know, I feel like the punishment gets in the way of the difficulty. It's like, yeah, I can beat this boss. That was really fun. That was challenging. I enjoyed that. People were like, you got to nerf that boss. I was like, the boss fight was fine. What are you talking about? I couldn't stand the runbacks. I was like, I beat this section. I jumped my way through it. I got good at this, the downward dash, or this, that, and the third. You know, really felt like I was kind of finding my footing. And then it was like, no, you got to rerun that again and again and again and again. And then I saw the footage of some of the crazy runbacks, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. That's punishment getting in the way of difficulty. That's not difficulty. I think they're completely two different categories. Making me redo something over and over again is punishment. That's not difficulty. Like, the categories are so separate in my mind. And I loved, as much as I disliked the second half of Elden Ring, I love the way that Elden Ring treated it. Like, FromSoft really saw the light, as it were. And they were like, you don't need to make people constantly redo something that isn't really necessary. It's like, yes, you got through this swampy area or this frustrating jump section. We don't need to make you redo that 20 times as you learn this fight, or as you navigate the phases of this fight, or the enemy's telegraphs, or, you know, the second phase of the boss fight took you by surprise and you died. Well, instead of coming back in and figuring it out, yeah, you got to rerun that area again. That to me was so disappointing that they went that way. I was like, I just don't think this is necessary. I think this is an outdated mentality about game design. It comes from a bygone era of much of the replay value of old games is the high fail rate. You know, why do you think they do that? The run back? I don't know if they've ever spoken to it in an interview, but if I were to think of like the best explanation possible, they would say it's all one package. We put so much work and so much energy into having a world that's challenging and a world that's punishing. We want you to be experiencing that as the runway to the boss fight. Like, I think that's what they would probably say. They're like, we really want the whole package to feel as one. It's one unit. It's not separated. It's not like, oh, here's a really challenging world in environments, and then here's the boss fight. Like, they don't want there to be a break between those two things. To them, it's this cohesive unit of, no, the run back is part of the boss fight in their mind. It's part of the package. Yeah, no, you got to do it again. This is the runway to fighting this guy. It puts pressure on your patience and your ability to maintain composure and to remember. That's probably what they would say. Was the run back in Ori not similar to Silksong? Not even remotely. No. There aren't really runbacks in Ori. There really aren't. There are sections where, like, you're running from lava, and if you make one mistake, you die, but it puts you right back at the beginning of it. I've said this a lot. I referenced the first Ori and the Blind Forest, and then I referenced Rayman Legends. These are games where they will put you in a really intense environment where the slightest mistake and you're dead. But what they do is they put you right back at the beginning. Now, in the first Ori, you can put a checkpoint anywhere. I don't remember. I thought they changed that in Ori 2. I've not played Will o' the Wisps in so long. Can you still put a checkpoint anywhere in that game? I can't remember how they did it. I don't remember ever dealing with runbacks in Ori 2, so I don't think that there are. I think you're usually like right there next to a boss fight or whatever. And one of the things I always argued was with like Ori and the Blind Forest and, you know, Rayman Legends, you actually can turn the intensity knob up and you can turn the difficulty knob up if you let the player just try again. Oh, I almost got it. Oh my gosh, he got me on that second phase. Or, oh, I misjudged that. Or, oh, that's second phase. I've not seen second phase yet. That's kind of crazy. He just starts dropping bombs, or he starts flying by really fast, and I've got to roll, 4 times in a row, and I got to time it right, and I didn't know that until right now. Like, you just learned a new thing about the fight because you just finally got to the second part of the phase. Well, just let me try again. Does that make sense? Like, oh, no. It's great that you made it to the second phase, and it's great that you just learned this new mechanic in the boss fight. Yeah, he's going to fly back and forth. He's going to drop 4 bombs. You got to roll out of the way of each of them at just the right time so that you get the iframes and you get your, your cooldown on your dash, in sync with the attack pattern. But yeah, you need to go run through that again to get back here. No, I'm not. I don't want to do that. Like, I'm here to have a good time. That's not a good time. I'm done. Like, it's that simple for me. It's that simple of an equation. If a game is going to do something regularly that I don't like, I'm putting it down. I don't play games to be punished. I just don't. Some people love that. They're like, step on me, daddy. They want the game to punish them. They love it. They love the feeling they get when they overcome it. Like, somebody who loves Silksong would tell me that part of the reason they love it is because they get through all that pain and they press on and they overcome it. It gives them a greater sense of achievement. And I don't get a sense of achievement from it. I feel relief. And I'm like, I play the game to get relief from the stresses of the world. I don't play a game to be stressed so that then when I finally get through a section, I then feel relief from the game. Do you see how backwards that is? Like, that's why it doesn't work for me. My brain breaks on the rocks. It just dashes on the rocks of it. I'm like, no. I come here to get relief from the stresses of the world. Your game's stressing me out, and then I finally get through the stress, and I feel relief from that horrible section. That's not relaxing for me. I don't want to do that. Cuphead makes Silksong look like a warm-up. I remember really liking Cuphead. I got to that dragon boss and I checked out. That was back when I was a Destiny streamer, though. Difficulty is how long it takes you to learn the pattern. Tedium is how long it takes you to get back to the point where you can learn the pattern. If you're stuck in a cubicle all day, I could see wanting some pain as a distraction. Yeah, I played Absalom with Madam. We didn't like it. We got to a boss where parries were absolutely necessary. He swings this big scythe, and she just couldn't get the timing down. I got the timing down about half of the time. That was pretty much the long and short of it. She couldn't get the timing down, and I got the timing down about half the time, and then I'd try to res her and die, and I was like, yeah, this game's not for us. If we're going to play a game together, it's got to be relatively casual. We beat Returnal together, and that's not casual. But she can't parry. In her defense, the parry in Absalom is crap. If you go read the reviews, it's one of the most complained about things. It's it just doesn't seem consistent. It doesn't work very well. Wired Rope was here the day after we played it, and I was saying that, and he says, oh no, yeah, the parry's terrible. So, as a Destiny player that wants new looter, is there anything out there right now that I could play that you would suggest? Yeah, Arc Raiders. It might sound crazy, but I think Arc Raiders is a looter shooter in disguise. I don't think it's It really is not I mean, it is an extraction shooter and there is PvP, but if you watch my video on how to get peaceful lobby trends, I think you could grind the frick out of that game, and a lot of Destiny guys are doing that. They're grinding like crazy. Given those mitigating circumstances, I would suggest couples therapy instead of divorce. Yeah, she can't parry. Yeah, I love parries. How did you get into Returnal? Because I'd be stressed. Thoughts on Dead Zone Rogue? Dead Zone Rogue is fine. I didn't feel any really strong desire to go back to it. I think I played it like once or twice. It was fine. RoboQuest is like the pinnacle of a first-person shooter rogue, and you play anything else, and it just feels like a cheap imitation. 812 members. Thank you for renewing, Jaster. Microsoft CEO wants people to stop calling AI slop. Well, then don't make slop. If you don't want people to call it slop, then don't make slop. You know what I'm saying? If you put your soup in a blender and you slap it down in my bowl and it looks like slop, maybe consider the methodology you use to present the food to me. Like, it's not that difficult. Yo, it's good, Phil Bosch. How are you? Good news, I made it to Biome 3. Bad news, I had 1 HP upon arrival. And Jazster Gifts a member trying to stoke those fires. You guys have a bit of a climb if you want to make sure that we do community game night. Jazster adds to the total. Thank you. What was I saying? Oh, Returnal. Yeah, I'm not really sure how Returnal turned the key for me. I don't really know what to say. Other than I just think the moment to moment was too good to put it down. Yo, Mr. Low Grade with a month. I thought I was a member for longer than a month, but oh well, luckily my computer has Wi-Fi at work because the cell towers are down all over. Ohio sucks. Well, that's not good. Let me add you to the total. We're 814 on the week. My body is so confused it feels like Monday. Yeah, if we weren't close on that goal, I was half tempted just to chill with members today, but I was like, man, they're close to the goal. I want to give them a chance here. That would have been kind of mean to be like, well, you guys rallied and got close, but we're just gonna hang out with members today. I didn't think that would be very fair, because you guys went crazy on New Year's Eve, especially. It's a rogue. The punishing is expected. The entire game is a run back. Yeah, that's what's interesting is Returnal doesn't feel like a run back. What am I expecting for games in 2026? I'm expecting greatness. I think Saros looks great. Wolverine looks great. Control 2 looks great. There are so many games, dude, that I think look so good. There's a couple that I think are going to be a little iffy. I just don't know if they're going to be solid or good or any of those things. Yeah. One of those is Crimson Desert. I'm a little iffy on. I just don't know. I just don't know if it's going to deliver. It just looks too ambitious. They've already had to dumb down the graphics in the trailers, you know. Yeah, Resonance, a Plague Tale Legacy looks really, really good. I love the world of Plague Tale. And so I'm happy to be in that game with a more like sort of action fighting focus. Playing Returnal now reminds me of Metroid Prime so much, just past Act 1. Yeah, to me, Returnal is a very interesting experiment because it does all of the things that I kind of don't like. So Returnal does rogue, run back, you die, you start over. Like, it does a lot of the things I don't like. But the moment to moment feels so good that I kind of put up with it. An example would be there are a lot of people playing Arc Raiders right now, and they know that they might get killed by another player, and they don't like PvP, and they don't really want to mess with PvP. Right? But they put up with it because they're having such a good time. Does that make sense? Do you see, like, to me, I feel like, how did I phrase this the other day? So Arc Raiders charged money for a live service game. And people were like, how did they do that? And I was like, well, they won the crowd. And I referenced Gladiator, where he says, if you win the crowd, you will win your freedom. If you, right now in gaming, if you win the crowd, you win your freedom. You can do a lot with your game if you win the crowd. There's a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of things you can implement. You can get away with a lot if you win the crowd. Like when Fortnite was at its peak of popularity and Apex started doing things and Fortnite just stole those ideas and just copied those ideas. Well, nobody freaking cared because the people playing Fortnite were like, who cares? Fortnite's awesome, right? Is Lost Soul Aside worth it? I don't think so. I didn't like it at all. It was one of my disappointments this year. I had a list of like disappointing games this year. Lost Soul Aside was one of those games. It was supposed to kind of be like one of the big games, or kind of the kickoff for China Hero Project, and it was really, really disappointing. I stopped playing Arc Raiders as I don't have the time for live service. I loved it and I did my expedition. I don't see myself going back. Yeah, I can't grind it, but it's fun. I mean, if we do community game nights or things with it, I have a good time with it, but I expect many delay announcements mid-April. 3 to 5 well-known studios shutting down in July. Jiminy Christmas, why do you think there's going to be studios shutting down in July? What do you think the cause of that is? Why are you making that prediction? My first game of 2026 will probably be Karn, mountain climbing game. Look forward to that late Jan. Right now, I think what I want to do is I want to finish High on Life. I'm really enjoying that one. I went back to that one. I was playing it last night, having a good time with it. Once I'm done with that, I want to replay Control before Control Resonant comes out. I'm actually probably going to do a stream of that with you guys, like, you know, Control gameplay in 2026, because I think people are going to be very interested to see, like, okay, is Control any good? Because, you know, this Control Resonant game's looking kind of hot, and a lot of people are doing that with Returnal. They're going back and watching my Returnal gameplay because Saros is on the horizon. So yeah, January, I'm not probably going to have much to do in the way of like brand new games until Mio comes out, Memories in Orbit, which is like a Metroidvania that comes out on the 20th. So yeah, if you guys are just tuning in, do me a quick favor. You don't have to subscribe to Talk in Chat. We don't do that anymore because it just makes people kind of sub for 5 minutes, and I don't think that that's helpful. But if you would like to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, you won't miss these live streams or these discussions. And if you haven't hit that thumbs up button, if you guys have been lurking and listening, hit that thumbs up button. Whenever you hit the like button, also feel free just to chime in the chat. Just say hello, just say good morning, spam an emote, something like that. That is also helpful. Control is great, but I have no idea what's going on story-wise. Yeah, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. Generally speaking, yeah, you're not supposed to know what's going on. What's good, Hilly? Control Resonant looks like it's melee, more melee than a shooter. At least that's what I got from the trailer. I saw no guns. Yes, I believe they are shifting to melee-based combat as opposed to a gun. Bareth Champion says, yo, happy Friday, everybody. What's good, Jay? How are you? Really quickly, as you guys are taking a second to unlurk and hit like and do all those things, make sure it is saving your like, okay? Because we're doing that thing again where I'm like, hey, we need likes, and the like count doesn't even move. So make sure it's not glitching out, because like it literally isn't changing. So I'm refreshing and checking my own. And while you're doing that, put the game, just one, you can only put one. I only want one. Put the game in chat you're looking forward to the most this year. You can only pick one. Let's see what it is. When's the Max Payne remake coming out? We don't have an official announcement. Claws of Awaji DLC was the biggest disappointment of the year. AC Shadows was fun, but the DLC fell off hard. What if Resident is a Souls-like? I don't think it's going to be a Souls-like. That'd be a very, very big departure. I got the plat for Control. Can't wait for the next one. I'm playing through Baldur's Gate 3, and it's going slowly as my friend keeps getting me to play Arc Raiders. Yo, Detonator with a VIP renewal. Let me add it to the total. That's not a bad setup. We haven't had any member bombs today. We could get our first 10 member bomb of the day, and I would owe you guys a member at 825. Okay, everybody's putting games in the chat now. Wolverine Yeah, we talked about MindsEye in the show open. GTA 6, Wolverine, GTA 6, Neo 3, GTA 6, Resident Evil Requiem, Wolverine, Fable, GTA 6, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake, Fable, OG DSP. You think Fable's coming this year? Grand Theft Auto 6, Halo Campaign Evolved. No, Light No Fire is probably not this year. Batman Lego is a second. Phantom Blade 0, Resident Evil 9, GTA 6, Lego Batman, GTA 6, Wolverine, Duskbloods, Wolverine. Man, we're getting a lot of votes for GTA 6 and Wolverine. That's not surprising. Hilly's just like, Halo. It comes out in 2 weeks. Trails Beyond the Horizon. Yeah, Swordman 7. I think it may get canceled. Resident Evil 9, GTA 6, Toxic Commando. We need more fun PvE horde shooters. The Helldivers 2 devs are too obsessed with nerfs and realism and not fixing bugs and old content. Soros, Expanse. What does the Expanse even have a launch window? Expanse game release date. I don't think it has a launch window. Does it? The Expanse of Osiris Reborn. It just says coming soon. I don't even know if they've said this year, have they? I mean, people might be assuming. That's a big, big danger. Don't do that. People might just be assuming that it's coming. High Guard. There it is, Zinthos. That's right. Resident Evil 9, Crimson Desert, GTA 6. Is Expanse 2026? I don't know. Does anybody in chat know? I don't know if it's 2026 or not. I don't think it is. They showed some Gravity boots. Just shows how stacked 2026 is because there's a lot of titles everyone's saying. Right. Too many games for me in 2026. Control and GTA 6 depending on my mood. High on Life 2. Yeah, I don't know if they've shown a release date for High on Life 2 either. High on Life 2 release date. Oh wait, no, February. Oh, that's right around the corner. Oh, that's right. That's why I'm playing High on Life before Control, because High on Life 2 is very quickly after that. Ninja of Shadows with a $5 super chat tip. A lesser known game that is an absolute banger is Echo Point Nova. I've been wanting that game to come to console for such a long time, bro. Like, Echo Point Nova looks so great. I will gift a member. I forgot to set the super chat goal. I know some of you guys enjoy super chatting instead. Yeah, like, look at this game, Echo Point Nova. So this is a game with like, it's got a fantastic score on Steam, by the way. It's got a 96%. It's an FPS shooter online. It's co-op. It's exploration. When did it come out? It came out September of 2024. I was trying to see if this was like this trailer was early access. So September the 24th. So it's been out for a while. And then in August they did a free expansion pack. Yeah, I don't know if they have any plans to bring that one to console, but man, Echo Point Nova just looks like such a fun time. You always forget. I know. I always forget to set the super chat goal. Yeah. Make sure you guys check your renewals. If you renew your membership or upgrade to Plus or VIP, it counts towards a total, and we're going to need that today. It's Friday. Lono, stop port begging. You know me. I would definitely play Mascot Agency, whatever the frick, this year after seeing it in the stream yesterday. Listen, man, Promise Mascot Agency, I'm telling you, I get why people like that game. I totally do. I'm not kidding you. I didn't expect this. I kind of want to go back. I kind of want to go back and see if I can get into a rhythm with the game. I really do. It's like there's something here. There's something quirky and fun and addicting about this. Like in the craziest turn of events. You know what I'm saying? It seems like it really, really does seem like it's worth checking out. Again, I should say. I already did. I've got a Prime to use. I forgot about it on the 1st. If you go over and use it, I can obviously watch. I don't know if you can celebrate it if I'm not live. Let me check my dashboard here. We will be doing morning coffee over there, but you will need to be a sub in order to use it. So, I'm sorry, in order to watch morning coffee. So make sure that you guys keep those ones running. Let's see. Declined. Duet Night Abyss? What is Duet Night Abyss? I'd have to stream it play it for a full hour. I don't think I've ever heard of that game. Very, very interesting. Okay. Anyways. Sorry, that was asking for confirmation, not judging. I can just do it Monday. Okay. Mouse PI for Hire got delayed to March. I didn't realize it got delayed. I thought they hadn't even announced a release date yet. I thought that was like the literal first announced date. I don't know if they ever announced a date prior to that, did they? It's a Warframe anime clone. Oh, okay. Duet Night Abyss is an anime Warframe clone. That removed gotcha. Okay, yeah, they're doing some kind of a sponsored push. It's I don't think it's a channel skin. I think I'd actually have to play the game for an hour. It looks like key details. Add. Oh no, it's his channel skin. I don't know. They yeah. I don't know. Let's see here. Jamal had to delete that entire hate-filled comment he had written. What did he write? I thought I was the only one that thought that Karen game was cool. No, there's plenty of people. There was a rock climbing game called Jasant, or however you say it, that people seem to like. I obviously, I don't think I would want to play a rock climbing game. That's not really my, that's not really in my wheelhouse. You know what I mean? It looks fine, but it's just not something I think I would play. Hilly's got a top 5 for 2026. Let's pull it up here. All right. 2 of these are 3 of these I'm really looking forward to. I don't think we're getting Light No Fire in 2026. I'm sorry to say, Hilly. But yeah, Romeo is a Dead Man looks really, really freaking cool. And Replaced looks really, really freaking cool. Nivalis, Life Sim, Immersive Sim. Yeah, no. I thought we had... does Replaced have a date? I thought it did. Or did they just finally confirm? No, March. This says March. Yeah. Replaced is so close. I'm so excited. I really hope they don't delay it again. How big is your wish list? My wish list on PlayStation and my wish list on Steam are a little different. Because I used to put games on my wish list on Steam a lot. And then I stopped doing it because I play most of the games on my PlayStation. Now I get notifications when games are on sale on Steam, and I'm like, oh, I should check that one out. I forgot all about that one. But it's like I don't have time to come in here and play games. I just don't. Yeah, Escape Room VR looked good. Escape Room Simulator 2. Those are games I would definitely consider, coming into the office to play. But we don't have a place for that kind of content on the channel. Like I love those. I love those games, those escape room games. Starbirds looked really, really cool. It's got a 92%. This is in early access and it is on sale right now. I think it's a play on words like starboard. So it's basically like a resource management game, and you have like these little planets, Like, I actually think this one looks really, really fun. And it's in early access right now on Steam. So, sorry, Zoob, if you've been trying to... this is like me putting a donut in front of somebody who's on a diet. Like, he's like, I'm not going to buy any games on Steam. That's my New Year's resolution. You know, he was going to take a break. Well, it's January the 2nd, and... sorry to show you this one. But yeah, this one looks great. In any case, there's a lot of these like this that like they only hit Steam, and I'm always like, man, I wish that one hit like Echo Point Nova and Realm of Ink. Did Realm of Ink come to consoles yet? I thought it did. Realm of Ink is a Hades clone. It's got a 95% on Steam. I feel like it finally did come to console, but I can't remember. Did Warden's Will ever turn it around? Warden's Will as a 72%. So Warden's Will was an action roguelike, third-person sci-fi. It was very much inspired by Risk of Rain 2. And, man, it had a really, really bad early access launch. It had a terrible score. It's now got a 72, so it certainly made things better. And you'll notice it does have co-op. They are playing with other people. So if they could get this one straightened out, you know, I think they could probably pull a decent audience and a decent amount of sales, especially people that like Risk of Rain or who like Returnal. You kind of get to combine some of the things from both here. But yeah, when was their last update? They've not really pushed out any updates. I thought they were constantly updating that game. At least they were tweeting a lot in the beginning. In the beginning days, I felt like they were tweeting a lot. BlazBlue Entropy Effect got a release date for console, didn't it? BlazBlue Entropy Effect, PlayStation Store. I feel like that one got a release date. Yes, February the 12th. Is that the same one that I'm looking at here? Entropy Effect X. Is this a different game? A roguelike action game set in the BlazBlue universe, featuring striking 2D visuals. Yeah. This is the one I was thinking of. I'll add this to my wish list. I forgot all about this one. Because it's been on Steam for a while. And it is, I believe it's got a good score on Steam. Yeah, 94%. Yeah, this one looked good to me. I think you can play. I don't know if this one's co-op or not. Oh yeah, they did a Dead Cells. Thing too. I thought that was pretty cool. They did a Dead Cells collaboration, I should say. Was that a camera? Yeah, this one looks great. This one looks great. I can't remember. Yeah, it has online co-op and LAN co-op. Yeah, so I'll be checking that one out potentially with Madam in February on console. Still no release date for Deep Rock Galactic Rogue Core. That's like a rogue shooter that they developed within Deep Rock Galactic's sort of style of gameplay. And we know that they did the Deep Rock Galactic Survivor as well. I mean, that's a great game. There we go. I'm just looking through here on my wish list. I'm kind of cleaning it up here, removing stuff that I either already know about or have already wish listed on my PlayStation. Mother Machine looked like it could be pretty good too, but it got a 75%. So that was like a co-op platformer exploration. They call it a Roguevania. I'm not quite sure what that is. Not the best score. Abyssus was the other one, like an FPS co-op shooter that didn't... it's got an 88%. Yeah, Abyssus. This one, I feel like people were saying, like, this one's really, really fun. This is kind of like Painkiller. It's got, like, the Doom vibe. It's like a co-op shooter vibe. Yeah, Abyssus is currently on Steam and looks like a fun romp. Does Redacted... Oh, no, Replaced? Yeah, Replaced is March, like March 12th or something like that. Yeah, this looks like a good time. And it seems to be doing well. It's got an 88%. The more recent reviews are a little bit lower as a 74. Not quite sure why. But like its overall score is pretty good. My Steam end of the year had most played tags, stuff like Action RPG, and it said Dwarf. It took me a minute to realize that Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is tagged as Dwarf. That'll do it. That will do it. Wild Blue Skies is the Star Fox inspired one that we don't have a date for yet. And I believe this one, I don't know if they've said it's going to be co-op or not. I'll check. But yeah, this is very much Star Fox inspired, and I want it so bad. It just looks so fun. I don't know if they've confirmed co-op. No, I think it's just single player. Yeah, I think it's just single player. So those are probably just people that are like in your flight, like you know how you're like your crew that goes out and flies with you in the original Star Fox games. Yeah, Escape Room Sims got a 93%. What was that called? That one is called Wild Blue Skies. It is certainly a love letter to Star Fox. No date yet, but you can wishlist it on Steam. Wild Blue Skies. Yep. It looks good. Oh yeah, I remember I wishlisted Fate's End 2, the action adventure 2D one. That one looks really cool. Yep. Why did I wishlist Darkcraft? MMORPG Souls-like? Oh yeah, this is like... Do you guys remember this? I forget where I saw this. Darkcraft looks... It looks incredible. It's like an MMORPG... Like Minecraft meets Souls. This looks fantastic. I want to play this so bad. I will betray you. Oh. Thanks, buddy. I'll take this glowing cube. Isn't there an Xbox Direct soon? I don't know if we've got a date yet. They'll probably announce it next week. And then we can obviously do all of our speculation and stuff. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, man, smash that like button. It helps me out. Let's try to get 200 likes. There's a lot of you here. Nice, strong turnout. Not the greatest week for gaming news, so we're just kind of like looking at last year. This looks sick. Yeah. This is an interesting one. You can wishlist it. Darkcraft is the first MMORPG in the Souls-like genre. Explore an open world filled with ruined castles, forgotten temples, and enemies waiting for their prey. Play solo or with friends, hunt bosses, join guilds, fight other players, and prove your right to reign supreme. This will likely be only on Steam. It's going to be free to play. Wow. All right. Well... it's definitely got a cool vibe and a cool art style for sure. But yeah, those are just some of the games on my wish list. Darkcraft PlayStation. Is it coming to PlayStation? I don't know if it is. It's probably just going to be on PC. Yeah. Free to play. Uh-oh. Yeah, you got to be a little leery. I know. You got to be a little leery of the free to play, but you know, there are games that do it right. There are games that do it well. So it certainly is possible for them to do a good job with it. Nintendo has said it is unwilling to backtrack on the design of the Metroid Prime 4 controversial open world hub, despite seeing changed attitudes to open world games, as the project had already been rebooted once already. That may be the outer limit of $3 indie. We'll have to wait and see. For now, I'm declaring it a $3 indie. That's right. That's right. This looks fun. Zeverland? Zombie survival, building, crafting, exploration. I don't know about that one. Zeverland. Wait, so you're a zombie? Or are you harnessing zombie powers? Oh, zombies are coming. It looked like he was harnessing zombie powers, like he's getting his arm turned into one. Hope Metroid Prime 5 is like the older ones. It's from Quantum Quirks, coming soon. Have they done anything before? That name is... Nope. That name was familiar, but they've not done anything. We're already talking about Metroid 5. Yeah, I don't even know if they said anything to even talk about it. I don't know. I just want Virtua Fighter 6. Let's see here. This looks sick. I'm excited for Toxic Commando. I have Rogues and Survivors on my list. See Ignitement. Ignitement on Steam is a casual RPG action roguelike isometric single player. Is everything fire based? Okay, that wasn't fire. Well, I guess that was fire. Maybe. Good chunk of my wish list for Steam is unreleased or coming soon. Oh, yeah, definitely. Every time we watch one of those showcases, they don't do the release date. They're just like, wish list now, and we all go and do it. It's effective. I think the next big thing that we'll see this year is iterations on that Survivor thing. Like, we're seeing games like Vampire Hunters come out where they take the Survivor element and they put it into like a first-person shooter. That one was called Ignitement. So think of the word ignite and think of the word excitement. It's like a combination of the two. Ignitement and excitement. Former Elder Scrolls Online chief, and this is kind of part of the disappointments of 2025. This was one of the things I said. Oh gosh, hang on 1 second. Let me fix that. Whoop. Here I am. Anyway, former Elder Scrolls Online chief confirms Microsoft's 2025 bloodbath drove his departure from Zenamax. Project Blackbird was the game I had waited my entire career to create. Matt Fearer announced his split from Zenamax Online Studios the same day Microsoft laid off roughly 9,000 employees and canceled multiple game projects. Let's see. Happy New Year, everyone. I've been pretty quiet the last 6 months, but I posted this message on LinkedIn. All right, hang on. Okay, as 2025 draws to a close, I want to take this moment to resurface and give everyone an update. Thank you so much to all who reached out to offer condolences on thanks during my exit from Zenamax Online back in July. Let me add to the total. Thank you so much, Rissick. Hang on a minute. Interact. There we go. And boom. We are at 816. We got a ways to go. If we're going to get to 1,000, we're going to need a little bit of a train. It's very possible. We've had huge days in the past. Fridays are usually kind of crazy. I cannot express enough my gratitude at the show of support you've given me from my game industry friends and colleagues. Right off the top, and to answer the most comment question I get, I am not directly involved in any of the projects that have been spun up by former members of the Zenamax Online team. I am advising some of them informally, but I am not leading them. They are in good hands with their respective leaders, and I can't wait to see what they come up with. Answering the second most common question about what led to me leaving ZOS, the most obvious explanation is the correct one. Project Blackbird was the game I had waited my entire career to create, and having it cancel led to my resignation. My heart and thoughts are always with the impacted team members, many of whom I had worked 20 plus years with. Here, let's just go. I'm going to go full screen here just because we are in the vertical feed and you guys won't be able to see the bottom. Pause. I can't express deeply enough my respect and thanks for both the Elder Scrolls Online development team and the players that together comprise the most welcoming, best community in online gaming. I have successfully moved from my first group to the second and now enjoy the game as an anonymous community member, and it is refreshing and fun. And a DTM member plus renewal. Let me get you added to the total here. Let's see. Where are we? Member display, interact, and boom. Thank you so much for 817. There we go. Oh, here. I can show you guys the thing. There we go. So what's next for me? Honestly, I still haven't figured that out. I'm not totally sitting on the sidelines. I have been advising some projects and startups in an unofficial capacity, and I've made some investments in small teams that I know will play a big part in the changing the industry in the future, but I have not yet seriously contemplated spinning up a new development studio. Thanks again for all the well wishes. Yeah, I mean, I said this was one of the disappointing things of 2025 was that, like, Microsoft comes in the room, shuts down studios, cancels projects. You know, apparently the Zenamax MMO was internally getting, like, people really liked it. It's really, really disappointing. Everything we heard was that people thought it was good. I don't know. As for Elder Scrolls Online itself, new Zenamax boss Joe Burba said in August that the game isn't going anywhere, but it sure doesn't sound like morale at the studio is in a good place. Describing post-cut Zenamax as a carcass of workers, senior QA tester Autumn Mitchell said a few weeks after the layoffs that Microsoft just took everything that could have been great about the culture and collaboration and decimated it. Jiminy Christmas. Yeah, I said that was one of my concerns going into 2026 is that's gonna continue with some of the shuffling of the leadership and the CFO, excuse me, and the CFO switching roles. You know, it is very, very possible that we see more studios and more project cancellations in 2026. And again, that certainly was one of the disappointments of 2025 was that. You know, you get them in the driver's seat, and I don't know. It would have been great if, like, Xbox as a division could have been sold to somebody else. I don't know who. If anybody has enough money, they would have done the same thing, I guess. They would have done the same thing Microsoft's doing. I wonder what the Halo art director is going to say when his NDA is up. Yeah. I think a lot of what folks like myself said that got described as hate or Xbox bad or being a pony or tribalism, I think my predictions and takes on it are going to age incredibly well. I think once a lot of these people come out and can speak and can say and talk to what happened, everyone's going to say the same thing. They're going to blame Microsoft. They're going to blame the contract policy. You know, I stand by everything I've ever said because it's all been proven right. All the stuff that came out of ABK, all the closed studios, all the layoffs, all the canceled projects, those are all things that we said would happen. And, you know, if you try to point to that and you bring that up, people claim that you're console warring and that you're being tribalistic. And it's like, no, we all literally warned that this would happen. And this has nothing to do with brand loyalty. You know, if anything, it was my loyalty to Xbox that made me wish they weren't doing what they were doing. And, you know, I wish Microsoft would get out of the way. I really do. I think Xbox Game Studios have some of the most talented and some of the best, you know, IP in the market, and they're under the thumb of Microsoft. And I just don't think that's a good relationship. I don't think it's a good setup. Maybe the next acquisition will work out. Yeah, maybe. They really do. They really do have great studios, and they have great IP. You know, they've got IP like Fable and Gears and Halo and Elder Scrolls, and it's just like, I don't know, to see so many really good IPs underneath one roof, and for the patterns that are starting to emerge to be very concerning and very worrying. You know. I forgot Darklight Survivors coming this year. Played the demo and wanted more. Cool game. Yeah, that's from the guys that made the Darklight platformer, and that's the one where you can switch to third-person perspective or top-down, like seamlessly. That seems pretty promising. It kind of reminds me of how what was it called? Shoot, No Rest for the Wicked was experimenting with like a third-person perspective mod within their own game. I don't know if they're going to do anything with that, but they definitely said that it looked cool and felt cool. I mean, it was like they were kind of experimenting with it. Maybe just to have fun, or maybe because they're, you know, actually going to do something with it. I'm not actually sure. Has there been any news regarding Fable? No. No, I mean, they delayed it, and then that was it. So right now, the going theory is the Xbox Developer Direct, Playground Games is going to be there, and people are saying that they're likely going to be there to talk about Forza 6, because they're sending like Forza Horizon 6 like marketing packs to content creators. So a lot of people are saying like, hey, they're getting ready to gear up and they're getting ready to talk about Forza. And if that's the case, my contention has been, if they say literally nothing about Fable, like, hey, we look forward to talking to you in the summer about Fable, or a Fable Direct or something like that, that's really concerning, right? I think that's really concerning. Because it looked fine when they showed the pre-alpha, but like the gameplay or whatever. But it's like, okay, you guys have been really, really showing us exaggerated gameplay footage. You know, Xbox is just weird. I think they very much come from a culture and a DNA of marketing where they say, just give us something to announce. I think Disney is very similar with Star Wars. Like, I took issue with how they did that with Fate of the Old Republic. Instead of like giving us an update on a Star Wars project and maybe some gameplay or something, no, all the other Star Wars projects are completely out of the frame, and they just announce another Star Wars game. Like, they just keep announcing Star Wars games, and that's very Disney. And I think Microsoft works the same way. We need something to announce. Give us something to announce. Well, what did they do the one year? They showed games like Replaced and Silksong and Arc 2 and a host of other games that did not come out on time and didn't even remotely come out within not just the 12 months that they were promised. Some of those games aren't even out yet. Mike Moore becomes a member. Let me add you to the total. 818. Welcome in. Be sure to get in the Discord. You get a bunch of extra content. And if you decide you want to upgrade from that for Member Plus, you can. Just try it out for months. See what you like about like morning coffee returns on Monday. So if you like getting into extra streams, that is one of the benefits of being a member. But yeah, it's like, you know, they just like to say something. They don't care if, like, think about what they did with Perfect Dark. They put together basically a trailer of fake gameplay that was essentially fake, right? It was essentially fake. And then they're like, oh, and then they cancel it. And it's like, well, you just wanted something to show. You know what I mean? I don't know. Released at October the 2nd. Site claims that PlayStation has confirmed the PC port for Q2 of 2026. Is Ghost of Yotei coming to PC? Yes. PlayStation confirmed a PC version targeting Steam and PlayStation PC launcher in Q2, featuring unlocked frame rate. Yeah, but it also references a PlayStation launcher. If there's a PlayStation PC launcher coming, this feels fake. Ghostofyotei.com? What the heck is ghostofyotei.com? Is this like a fan site? About. It's an independent fan-built portal dedicated to launch prep, platform guides, and lore coverage. This feels like it's been written by AI. This is a frequently asked question right here. It says, is Ghost of Yotei coming to PC? Yes. PlayStation confirmed a PC version targeting Steam and the PlayStation PC launcher in Q2 2026, featuring unlocked frame rates, DLSS, FSR, and full controller remapping. That feels, again, how would a fan-made site have that information? And where's the PlayStation PC launcher? There's been speculation that there was going to be a PlayStation PC launcher for a while, but I don't think that that's how we would find out about it from like a fan-made site. That, again, that feels like maybe AI, like they wrote it to like be a placeholder or something. That would be really quick. We were told that Death Stranding 2 was going to come pretty quick. Death Stranding 1 went to PC pretty quickly. It was like 8 or 9 months. We still don't have a release date for Death Stranding 2, but we were told we were going to get one at the end of last year. People are like, oh yeah, we're going to get a Death Stranding 2, update or whatever. Updated February. Yeah, it's super, super fake. Look at this. Their website is claiming updated February 2026, official references sourced from PlayStation.com. Well, February 2026 hasn't even happened yet. Yeah. That feels super fake. And again, I don't think if we're going to learn about a PlayStation launcher, we would have either already learned about it from reputable sources that like to leak PlayStation stuff. Like Tom Henderson leaked the Q Lite, he leaked the PS5 Pro, he knew about PSSR well in advance. I feel like we would know from someone like that before we would know from like a fan-made site that has apparently they're time travelers. Sony no longer owns Death Stranding. Well, even when they quote-unquote owned it, they sold the rights back to Kojima, and Death Stranding 1 came to PC 8 months after release. So if Death Stranding 2 goes to PC more quickly than other PlayStation games, that's actually not a change because they did the same thing with Death Stranding 1. Death Stranding 1 was published on PC by, I believe it was 505, and it was an 8 or 9 month window. So I don't think Death Stranding 2 going to PC within that same time frame is surprising if they decide to do it. I also don't know if they start putting games on PC that quickly, that's less than 12 months. I feel like they would have said that to the shareholders. It would have been outlined in a strategy change. They would have told people that was coming. They'd have been like, yeah, we're going to start increasing the speed with which games come to the PlayStation. I'm sorry, to PC. I also think they would have mentioned or at least hinted at a PC launcher if that is indeed part of the strategy. Because that was something I always said. I was like, if they start bringing games to PC quicker, I could see that going hand in hand with a launcher because they don't want to do revenue share with Steam. They'd be like, yeah, Yote's going to PC 12 months later, and it's only going to be available in our launcher for the first 6 months or something like that. Because they know there would be a lot of people that don't care. Within the number of people that game on PC, that's a very large number. You just need a percentage of them to not care about launchers. Because they're there. There are plenty of people that are like, I don't care about a launcher. And then the rest would just buy it later anyway. So you're getting money from them either way. But the early adopters, you would make more money off of them because you wouldn't have to revenue share. I still don't know if we're ever going to see a PlayStation launcher. They've definitely done some things that seem to hint at a PlayStation launcher, but outside of not having a revenue share for Steam, trying to do a launcher on PC just seems like a fool's errand. I don't know why anybody would do it at this point. Could you imagine what the game is going to look like on a high-end rig? Oh, it would look really good. It would. Death Stranding 2 is going to look incredible on PC. Nothing else that will happen. It doesn't look like a great site. Yeah, that site's kind of, I don't know. It seems like it could be like a genuine fan site, and there's just a lot of AI generated text, like placeholder text or something, but finally got the Pro Lono, doing my data transfer now. My OG PS5 has started having the overheating issues even after taking it apart and cleaning it. Really? That's unfortunate. Some studios have mini launchers like CD Projekt Red and Larian. You launch into another window with all your games from that dev and sign-in options. Yeah, maybe they do that. I just don't know. In Europe, Ghosts of Yote was €79, not 69, so that also seems wrong. So they don't even have the current price of Ghosts of Yote in euro, correct? Yeah, who knows what that site is then? I mean, it could be completely AI made. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee. Thank you, Predator, for ordering 6 bags of Frickmas. Taking advantage of the huge sale. I've not been putting the coffee in the frame because it'll end up blocking my cool Legos. But yeah, maybe we could come up with a way to prop it up or something. No, you won't be able to see it. We'll just block the Legos for now. We won't block the Nintendo though. Yeah, reforgeroast.com if you guys are coffee drinkers. Great time of the year, the beginning of the year, to take advantage of our sale. Our light roast and our medium roast is $10.95 a bag, which you're hard pressed to get coffee that cheap at the grocery store. So we're trying to move through that inventory, and you can benefit from our need. So, okay. Can't do my donations this month after other than membership. Dropped 1,000 on certification books on Stratford Cash. You're good. You're good. You don't need to do anything more, brother. You don't need to do anything more. If we hit the goal, we hit the goal. If we don't, we don't. Some weeks we hit it, some weeks we don't. That's why we have the Member Plus number there. Anybody right now, if you're on Member Plus and above, you add to the total every Monday. You jumpstart the week. So that way, the higher that group gets, the easier the goal is to hit. At least I can finish Yote on the Pro. Yote looks really good on the Pro. Yeah. Zubair says, don't tell anyone I said this, but I've been enjoying the Frickmas. That's good news. That's good news because there's a lot of it. There is a lot of it. So, let's see here. Well, let's see. What time is it? 2 hours and 14 minutes. I don't think I'm going to do a super long stream today, y'all. We did like a 5-hour long stream yesterday. We usually only go about 3 hours. Let me check the news feed, see what we got here. You guys have basically got about 40 minutes to hit the goal. So let's go ahead and get the timer up there. Set, start, show. There we go. That's basically about how much time we've got. You got 40 minutes to hit the goal. You're going to have to rally the troops. I'm checking the news feeds. See if we can't find anything that's developed to discuss. Gaming news is pretty slow right now. See what's going on. Right now, most of the gaming news outlets are just giving lists. Like top games of this and top games of that. What happens when PCs are so expensive to maintain and obtain that consoles become more attractive, like the PS5 Pro? Better to get them while they are cheap. My hope would be that for at least the time being, you know, the PlayStation and Nintendo can dodge some of the price increases that are coming to hardware. No green room today. We'll probably do green room. Yeah, we'll probably do green room. Because obviously, the PS5 Pro could sit at its current price and really benefit from people feeling like, good golly, it's so expensive, to do anything in PC land, especially with RAM. They could just kind of maintain their current price point and get a ton of people that were sort of like not interested or apprehensive to be like, you know what, now's a really good time to buy. The difficulty is purchasing hardware right now is slowing for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons, I think, is the economic reality. Like, I think people just feel strained, and the price drops over the holidays, really, really helped PlayStation have a strong end of the year, but it's still overall slowing down. Like, spending in general is a struggle right now. And so if things don't like economically change, then you're going to see that be a continued challenge. The hope would be that you have companies, if Nintendo maintains their current price point, if PlayStation's able to maintain their current price point, that could be a nice option for people that feel like, yeah, I have no desire to spend money in that realm right now. It's getting too expensive. PS6 not going to happen until 2028 earliest, given prices right now. Yeah, I've said for a while, even before the prices in the RAM situation, I thought the PS6 was coming late 2028. Yeah. There's some outliers. Anything that has path tracing is going to dwarf even the Pro. But for the overwhelming vast majority of games, visually the Pro is going to be up there with the best. The thing you have to consider is the market that can't tell the difference or they don't care, right? There's a lot of gamers that aren't going to be able to tell the difference. If you're like, oh, but here is a, $2,000 rig and we did this and we did that and we made these, we have these things turned on and it looks better than the Pro. Well, here's the thing you have to convince somebody of. You have to convince them that it's worth spending all that extra money for those differences. And I think there's a lot of consumers that are just going to go, yeah, I don't care about that. As an example, look at the number of people that are staying on the PS4. Okay. So 40 or 50 million. Yo, it's good, Feed. Guys, Feed is in the chat without a badge. And we got a long way to go on the member goal. This is the time. This is the time to rally. All right? This is the time to do it. So, if that many people, we're now going into year 6, so it's 2026, and there's still that many people hanging out on the PS4, and then also look at the number of people in PC land on mid to low level PCs. It's obvious to me that you're going to have a hard time convincing people to spend all that extra money to get the extra performance, because right now the market's displaying a ton of people that don't want to do that or don't care to do that. Do you see the point that I'm making? Like, if within the PlayStation landscape, you'd have so many people clamoring to the PS5 Pro instead of having 40 or 50 million people staying on the PS4. In PC land, you'd have so many people clamoring to have top level rigs instead of having the majority of the people in this, the Steam hardware report are on mid-level to low-level rigs. Like, there's a significant portion of the gaming audience that is displaying a lack of care about that. They just don't care. Haseo gifts a member to try to get things going here. Let me add to the total, 819. Thank you so much, Haseo. So, to me, if you're looking at buying hardware right now, I do think that's the Pro is a very compelling offer. If you're in the market to upgrade in some capacity, you want something that's going to run games better, look better, play more of the newer games, I think the Pro is very compelling right now. As with the outlook of, anything within PC land and console land getting more expensive, I think it's a good time to consider that purchase. I think I'm kind of at that point too, where I'm like, you know what? I should grab every piece of hardware I have, my Switch 1, my Switch Lite, any controllers that I don't need, and my standard PS5, and I should probably go trade at GameStop and get myself a Pro before those prices potentially go up, and get myself that third Pro. So I just have one in the office, so I'm not moving it back and forth. Some games are just not on console, like Sons of the Forest. Well, there's games like Sons of the Forest. There's early access of like Moonlighter 2. There was early access of Baldur's Gate 3. You can get Hades 2 on the Switch, but you can't get it on PlayStation and Xbox. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor for the longest time was only on PC, and it is also now available on Xbox, but it was only available on PC. Like, yeah, one of the advantages that Steam has is there are so many games that you either can't get on console or you have to wait. Or in the case of like Hades 2, I would much rather play Hades 2 on my PlayStation. That's just my preference. I really only want to play, first party Nintendo games on my Switch 2. So I don't really see myself wanting to play a game like that on the Switch 2. I just don't have a desire to do that. Banshee says, can we destroy the like button before the end of the stream? That would be very, very helpful. Thank you to everybody who has already hit the like button. If you haven't already, do that. Brother, you're going to get a third pro. I just don't like moving it back and forth, you know? It's not good for it. You should, unplugging and replugging and unplugging and replugging. You know? It's not good for it. You don't want to be doing that. And I have a standard PlayStation 5 just sitting there. We haven't hit 200 yet today. Yeah, the like count's been like pulling teeth lately. I don't know why. I don't like to keep hitting it though. Like I'll mention it a couple of times and I try not to. I can't tell if it's YouTube messing up or if it's just the audience forgetting, because I think sometimes we all get a little, especially after the new year, everybody's a little sleepy still. I have my pro in my office and my standard in our living room. Is Green Room on YouTube today? No, that starts next week. You're going to want to be at Member Plus and above if you want to take part in Green Room going forward. It will take place on YouTube. And you're going to have to be there for it live. We're not going to be able to leave those things sitting there like that. YouTube is still pushing the member stuff to non-members. So you're going to want to be there. If you miss it, you miss it. I'm just not ready to drop 700 on the new gen when the new gen comes around in 1 to 2 years. Crazy, it's been over 5 years since the 5 was released. I think that's totally fair. If you're like, man, in 2 years we could be looking at a PlayStation 6, then it's totally reasonable to be like, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to buy anything right now. I think that's totally reasonable take. So, Mike Moore upgrades to Member Plus. That makes it a double. So now I'm adding another one. We're 5 away from the next milestone. At 825, I owe you guys a member. If you guys get us to 900, I will do my old school gifting for the last 100 run. I'll do 5 every 25. Right now I do a single every 25, and I dropped that because it was becoming a little counterproductive. But if you guys need us to 900, I'll help. I will help. We'll make a run for that final push. Yeah, that casing that you got for your PlayStation looks really nice. If I had like an entertainment stand, I would totally do this. If I had your setup, yeah, I would totally do that. Is there a cover on your disk drive for your Series X? What's like a keep dust out? Yeah. So that's a PlayStation inside of like a, I'm assuming does he 3D print those, or does he have those fabricated somewhere for him? I don't know why the timer stopped. I don't know why it does that. It doesn't like when we change scenes. It keeps the dust out. Okay. I've never seen one of those. I've never seen like a dust cover for the disk drive. I hope that thing breathes. I think when you go to his website to order them, he has videos and heat analysis to show you the level that it'll keep the system cool. Yeah. VCR. Yeah, apparently VCRs are coming back in a big way. It's true. Everybody loves a good VCR. I actually wish I had a working VCR. I have a couple old VHS tapes that I'd love to show my kiddos. And, yeah. 3D model they base it off of. It actually reminds me of the Xbox One. It does. Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the Xbox One X too, like how the Xbox One X had like that, the bottom of it was like, wasn't it like recessed in Xbox One X? I gave mine to my nephews. Yeah, the bottom was like recessed in. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that split that the One X had. It's kind of similar. Yeah. That's going to stop the timer again. No, it just keeps resetting it to 30. What the heck, man? What is going on? Okay, so we're at 28. I'm sorry, we're at 38. We were going to go into, well, I'll just look at this. 28, 30. So we need to be at 27. Yeah, this thing just doesn't like me switching scenes. I'll be back in a bit. All right, sounds good. Console sales may have been going down in 2025, but GTA 6 will give console sales a major boost this year. I predict Sony sells 20 million plus PS5 consoles next fiscal year due to GTA 6. Yeah, I mean, that's another aspect. I don't know if that was a factor or not, but the economic factor, they didn't get to do their price decreases. They did price increases, and then the GTA 6 delay may have had people say, you know what, I'm just gonna wait. You know? I'm just gonna wait. Because that's the big push. Like, Call of Duty didn't make anybody jump this year. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee. My man Mike grabbing 4 bags of the Frickmas. Thank you so much, sir. Like, if you're kind of holding out for the PS5 and you're one of those people on PS4 and you're playing Warzone and the new Call of Duty is like, nope, we're coming to PS4, and then GTA 6 gets delayed, it totally makes sense to be like, I'm just going to wait again. I mean, that wouldn't be surprised if all those things combined, you know? Doesn't really feel that intuitive to gift a sub. Don't mention on stream, just making a comment. I don't understand. Well, I appreciate the $5 super chat. Everybody can see what you said because it's a super chat. What? It doesn't feel that intuitive to gift a sub. I'm not sure what you mean. If you'd rather super chat or order coffee or do your own membership, that is an incredible way to support, right? Absolutely. If everybody did what you did, they did Member Plus for $6 a month, we wouldn't need to do gifteds. We would just have people supporting. Like that, you don't need to explain that. I don't expect people to gift. The gifting is essentially a way to let people sample the content, so maybe they decide to pick up their own membership in the future. That's kind of the hope, is that you get a gifted from somebody else. You know, they let you kind of come in and check everything out, you know, for free. For that first month. Have you heard of the series? I started last night. I already love it. Red Rising. I swear somebody told me about that recently. Was looking to give 5, but I didn't see a way. You just hit the $sign. I don't know if you're on phone or not. It might be more difficult on the mobile. You just hit the $sign and then you hit gift. Membership gifting's like at the bottom, and then you just pick a batch. So maybe on mobile it's difficult, I'm not sure. My worst game of the year is Where Winds Meet. It barely qualifies as a video game to me. Huh. What? It's doing so well. Why don't you like it, Loot? Why don't you like Where Winds Meet? I've been preaching Red Rising to you for a year now. I'm working my way through Stormlight Archives, and after that, probably Mistborn. I mean, I can check out Red Rising after. I feel like somebody in my personal life, or somebody that I like was hanging out with, we were like standing around talking. I swear somebody mentioned Red Rising. I swear somebody I know said something about it. I've never seen a game with more currencies, and it's not the only gacha that I've tried. Huh. What's Where Winds Meet about? It's like an open world. You're kind of like a samurai. You've got like a lot of different, weapons you can use and playstyles you can utilize, and like it's an ongoing game. It's like an MMO, kind of. So it's like a live service action adventure RPG where you're like a You're not really a samurai, but you kind of look like one, and you can use all sorts of different play styles. They call it a wuxia open-world action-adventure RPG set in ancient China in the 10th century. You're a young sword master, and yeah, it's a multiplayer. It's free to play. Yeah, it's been doing incredibly well. It's got an 88% on Steam. Read Mistborn Secret History after the first Mistborn trilogy. I'll remind you when the time comes. Okay. I will do that. I'll try to remember. I have 150 hours in Where Winds Meet and haven't spent a dime. I feel like that's one of the reasons it's been so popular, is that people are playing it free to play, and they're like genuinely playing it free to play. Like they don't feel like they have to spend money. I don't. If I had time for it, I would play it. I don't have time for a live service game right now. I literally don't. If I was to play a live service game that requires you to put in, and I say requires loosely, but we all know the only real way you extract value out of a game like that is you put a lot of time into it. You're not going to extract a lot of value from that game if you play for like 5 hours a week. You're just going to, I'm personally, at the very least, I think I'm going to feel like I'm not really doing anything, and it's going to make it hard for me to mentally engage. So it would have to be a game that my wife and I could play together, and to me, there was just no way she was going to play that game. There was just no way. It was kind of like when we tried out Path of Exile 2. It was just like, this isn't going to work. It was too difficult for her. She kept dying. Like I was fine. I was like, okay, I think I can hang with this game, and she just kept getting overwhelmed and dying. We're currently playing Pokemon Legends ZA on Switch 2 and having a good time. I still have to finish Borderlands 4 on PC. Borderlands 4 showed up in a lot of... It was on my top 10. Like, I really liked it. I thought it was one of the best Borderlands I had played. But it had so many performance issues on PC. You know, I think it's totally fair to beat up a game if it launches and has a ton of performance issues at launch, like Jedi Survivor. You know what I mean? It gets brutal later, PoE 2. I thought PoE 2 looked phenomenal. I can tell that the devs are good, and they know what they're doing, and there's a lot of passion, and I think the moment-to-moment looks fabulous. But it was just like, ain't no way I'm going to be able to hang with this game if my wife's, not able to hang. Because I need a game like that. If I'm going to put a ton of hours into it, I got to be able to play it with her. Because it basically means we're going to do that instead of watch a show, right? Like right now we're working our way through Mario Galaxy 1. And then we'll do Mario Galaxy 2. Yeah. Launch was rough. Yeah, it's gotten better, but yeah, launch was pretty rough. As much as I want GTA 6 Trailer 3 to drop around the next earnings call in February, I doubt we see it until around late May or mid-June. I don't even have a prediction about that anymore. I just don't. And Rissik's going to try to stoke the fires here in the waning moments on Friday, 8:25. I owe you guys a member. If you guys can get it to 900, from 900 to 1,000, I'll do 5 every 25. We've lowered the incentive to 1 every 25 because it It was being counterproductive. But I will do it. Risic does a single, and he's an Agents of Chaos on his own. On his own gifted. Thank you so much. Borderlands 4 didn't come as a surprise in that regard. Same thing happened with Borderlands 3, launched in a rough state on PC. I felt like this was worse, and also it didn't help that it really didn't help with the way that like Randy Pitchford handled it. It really didn't help. GG with the memberships. Yeah, GG. Thank you, Risic. Bumping the line like that. Checking the news feeds right now just to see if anything's going on. And it is quiet out here, boys. It is quiet. Other than the RAM pricing thing, which that's just not the kind of stuff that I cover. You know, RAM prices are getting expensive. Like, a lot of console worrying about that. Like, just buy a PlayStation. I'm not. No, I'm not interested in that. Not interested in that dialogue. Someone show Lono something cool on Discord. Time is running out. It is indeed running out. There's 15 minutes left. 15 minutes left. 5 bombs add up quickly, boys. You don't always need to wait for the big dogs to flex their muscles. Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. And we're now at 451. So this went up today. Thank you so much for making the Member Plus number go up. I appreciate that as well. Mike did that. Just buy a PlayStation when they realize it uses RAM. Well, I think what they're doing is they're saying you can get it at a good price right now. Right? Like, what's the PS5 Pro right now direct from PlayStation? Yeah, it's $750. Or you can just buy the standard PlayStation 5 for, they've got refurbished ones for $400, and then they've got the $500 PlayStation Digital Edition. So for $400 refurb, $500 brand new, or $750 for a Pro, that's what they're saying. They're like that. You know, that's a great deal in light of everything getting more expensive. I think that's what they're trying to say. I just don't care about that. I'll let much smarter people weigh in on what's going on with RAM and where we're headed on pricing and PCs, peripherals, and everything else. Like, yeah, I just don't care. I like the quote that it's better to delay a game than release it with problems. Randy releases the game earlier and says, get a better computer. That was a fun show. I mean, I do think sometimes it's got to be frustrating as a developer when, like, you say, here are the minimum requirements, and you get a bunch of people that play it that don't have the minimum requirements, or they're playing at the minimum requirements and they're like trying to push the settings too high or whatever, and then they get mad and leave bad reviews. That can be frustrating, and I feel like he just kind of jumped to that conclusion, like that's what people were doing. And it's like, no, that's not what people were doing. The game had problems. It didn't run that well on console, for Pete's sakes. And that's kind of like your home, that's kind of like your home-based crowd there, you know? Nobody knows. It's all estimates and suppositions. The market's a living entity. That's why I just don't have a whole lot of a desire to talk about it, you know? I just don't have a whole lot of desire to talk about it. It's like I don't feel like anybody has a grapple on what's really happening and what's going to happen. So it's kind of like, let's just wait and see kind of a thing. And we don't really discuss hardware here anyway. Like, that's just not, I'm not like, hey guys, a new GPU came out. Like, that just doesn't, that kind of stuff just doesn't interest me. I don't mind covering, like, if, like, when Xbox announces Project Magnus, or if we get like an update to PSSR, I think that's enjoyable because I think that's still more 30,000 feet than getting into the weeds of like RAM prices cost this much, this company made this change, this company made this change, you know, now the consumers are going to have to do this. I'm always just like, yeah, that doesn't interest me. If there was a presentation on something like frame gen or DLSS or reflex that I felt was going to like impact the experience of like a low power device like a handheld, that's interesting to me. I'm not sure where the category split is, but like if like let's say like Nvidia did a presentation on, you know, how they had gotten to a place where like a weaker GPU in a laptop or a handheld was going to be able to get like rock solid 60, and they leverage reflex technology so you don't feel any input latency, and it's for as far as you can tell, it just feels, you know, smooth and perfect. That to me is interesting. It's not interesting to talk about like the price of GPUs or market fluctuations causing and wreaking havoc on on RAM prices. Stuff like that just doesn't interest me at all. The same 32 gig sticks of RAM I bought for $120 is now $489. Yeah, that's insane. All right, guys, final 10 minutes. And yeah. Reflex won't help that issue. We need an entirely new method of frame gen that predicts the next frame instead of interpolating. Is that it? Interpolating? Is that how you say it? Interpolating between two rendered frames. Yeah. I don't know the solution. That was just the only thing I could think, was that if you're creating input latency, right? If you're creating input latency, can you remove input latency with something like that, with something like reflex? Like, is that possible? You run rollback netcode, but for frames. The lag now is because it has to wait, so reflex helps as much as possible. I remember the first time I experienced it, I think it was in Ragnarok on PC, right? I think it was Ragnarok on my PC. I was like fighting Atreus as a bear, and like I got like every parry. I started messing up at the end because I got greedy, but like when I was locked in and focused, I was like, oh my, I was getting every parry, and someone was like, oh my gosh, you hit like every single one. And I remember saying like, I don't remember it being, that good or feeling that good on the console. And people are like, oh, that's that NVIDIA reflex. It like makes the, the input latency feel really, really good. I don't know if you can remove latency like that. Yeah, I don't know. They would need some kind of a breakthrough, but I feel like that is one of the breakthroughs of or one of the needed breakthroughs, I should say. Like if you're going to essentially create an environment where half the frames are fake, I don't know how you do that and not have the player feel like something's not right, like the way that it felt like in Black Myth Wukong. I don't know. I'm not savvy enough to say how to fix it. I just thought, well, they could do something with, reflex maybe, I think the general difficulty is always going to be on like a handheld especially. You're just going to be dealing with less power. And if you try to get more power, then you're dealing with battery issues, That's why I said when people were like poo-pooing upscaling and frame gen. I was like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. That technology's potentially going to improve and evolve in a way that like makes handheld gaming a lot better. Yo, what's good, Stone Spire? Rollback netcode basically predicts the next move you're going to make. If it matches, good. If not, it's rolled back to the last correct prediction. Huh. That's impressive that stuff like that even exists. I mean, that's like, to me, that's like modern day wizardry. If you're running past Jimmy John's, I could use a number 13. The problem with those techs is it's not the tech, it's the abuse of the tech. Well, for sure, it's not that frame gen is the problem. It's that when it's used in a way that makes the experience feel, really, really crazy, or in the case of Black Myth, it made the experience feel terrible. It's like it made the experience feel awful. You had a garlic stuffed crust from Papa John's. Nice. Stone Spire's making a lunch run. He's like, I am? Yeah, all I've got in my feeds is Satya Nadella saying that they can move past arguments of slop in AI. He describes how social acceptance of AI hinges on real-world impact beyond spectacle. I would say that is. I mean, I think people will be more accepting of AI when it's not just, oh, we can take a rap song and make it sound like, 1950s, music from the 1950s or something. Want to wait to hear about how CPUs process multiple outcomes in the code simultaneously to save time. It's called branch prediction. That sounds like something out of the Loki TV show. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like something out of Loki. That's all that's in my feed right now, is the AI thing. I think he's right to a certain degree. Like, we've got to get past the gimmicks of, like, making a cute song or making a cute greeting card or, the slop that we've seen in games, or the slop we've seen in advertisements and marketing and stuff like that. You've got to move past that and get into, something more meaningful. Like if it starts to affect and has real world impact on, life-saving technology or things that help with convenience. Like if AI can do, predictive measures within a city and traffic and, traffic lights and stuff, that's when people will be like, okay, AI is not just like a joke. Don't act like 1950s Eminem wasn't going crazy. I think the one my brother played, wasn't it a 50 Cent song? The agentic AI will be the first marketable product. Alexa, but not stupid. I don't know about you guys, but our Alexa changed her voice. Yeah, like cure cancer. That's right. You guys got 4 minutes. I don't know if we've ever gotten that many members in 4 minutes. Basically because of stream delay, you have 3 minutes to get, if you get to 900, I'll give you a stay of execution, but I don't know if we can do it. If you rally to 900, I'll extend, because we used to do that. We would extend from gifting. I'll happily do that if you guys rally. I don't think we're going to be able to do it, though. We'll see. But, yeah, I think it was like, they did something around the holidays where, like, all of a sudden, our Alexa changed. Her voice wasn't right. And I'm like, what the heck? Why does it sound like there's a teenager in my house instead of like the old school? So we went into the settings and we changed it to the voice that is basically similar to the original voice, but it's still not the same. And she's so dumb now. Like, she got dumber. Something as simple as setting a timer, she takes forever to respond. And she has like cute little sayings now. Instead of just being like, hey, set a timer for 20 minutes. And she's like, 20-minute timer starting now. And you're like, that's great. Thank you so much. Now it's like you say it and there's this pause. And she's like, your timer's running. I'm like, huh? What are you doing? Why did it take you so long to respond? It's a timer. Like, you're not doing a search query and like trying to figure something out for me. And why do you have all these cutesy pie sayings now? Just tell me that you set the timer. Like, I'm just making a pizza. It's like, what are you doing? What's taking so long? They replaced her brain with their own AI model and now she's dumb. Oh, it's so frustrating. Both my kids now are like, why is she so slow? Like, she takes so long to respond and her voice isn't quite right. It's unnerving. Like, you get used to something like that. You get used to the way that it sounds and you get used to sort of like the way that it responds. And when it changes, you're like, something's wrong with this. Something's broken. Like, it doesn't, I don't know. I wish we could go back to whatever we had before. We just need her to turn music on or to set timers. Like, that's really all we need. It's an early access program. That's what it feels like. It feels like we're beta testing. I didn't opt into it at all. All of a sudden it was different and she didn't sound right. Yeah, they laid off the original Alexa. Yeah. Same with Sirius. It feels weirdly slow now. I think they're getting bloated because they're adding in all that stuff. They're adding in all the AI. They're trying to make it faster, or not faster. They're trying to make it better. You know what I mean? Basically Windows updates, but worse. Yeah. Yeah, we don't like it now. I was literally we got like one of those little like pizza oven things where like you can make like personal pizzas. You put it in, you like close it, and it takes like 5 minutes. It's great, right? And I would just tell her to set a timer for 5 minutes. And every time she said something different. Every single time she said something different. And every single time it took her a long time to respond. And I'm like, what are you doing? I just need to know that you set the timer. Like, I'm putting the next one in. I'm making the next one while I wait. What are you doing? It's like, I'll do it on my phone faster. You know what I mean? I'll just pull down the thing and just hit the thing to start a new one. She talked about my kid's interest that I don't recall feeding her. Obviously, the listing for ad filtering is on. Oh, for sure. It's totally on. It's 100% on. And I don't care about that much. Like, that's just a thing. It's like, well, what are you going to do? If you want this convenient thing, it's going to be listening. But I just don't like how it's slow and the voice change now. So. All right, we're going to go to Green Room. The Discord link is in the description of this video. You can use the Discord command in chat. I don't like these streams going longer than 3 hours unless there's a particularly good reason to. Like yesterday, I played a bunch of games, so you can go check that past broadcast. There's timestamps of all the games that I showcased. If you're looking for a game to play in January, while you're kind of waiting for some of the new games to come out, check out yesterday's stream and all those timestamps. Today was just sort of like, we knew this week was kind of decline as we went, because people they're not working, they're off, there's no news. So we knew today was going to be a bit of a slow one, which is totally fine. But we'll be in the Discord for a little bit for Green Room. And then starting next week, Green Room will return to YouTube. So you're going to want to make sure you're at Member Plus before that happens. And you're going to want to make sure that you are there for those. So thank you guys so much for a great new start to the year this week. And we'll see you in the Green Room. If I don't see you in the Green Room, we'll see you Monday. All right? Take care.